Sun Dong is dead. Dozens of miles away, seeing Sun Dong's primordial spirit being killed by Li Su, his body and spirit annihilated, Jing Lao, who jumped faster, stared at him.
His strength is stronger, and he has more hole cards. After using that Dao talisman to block the counterattack of the Yuan magnetic barrier, he spent a lot of hole cards. At last, he didn't have his body shattered like Sun Dong. Yuanshan was also severely injured, but he also suffered a lot of injuries. I didn't expect him to be able to use the Yuan magnetic barrier. Jing Lao didn't even have time to wipe the blood from the corner of his mouth, and fled frantically into the distance. This time, their loss was too great. Sun Dong's refining emptiness unexpectedly. The incomparably precious Dao talisman given by that woman was also consumed, and he also consumed a very large number of hole cards. He never dreamed that Li Su's formation attainment had reached such a level that even the Yuan magnetic barrier could become a member of the Fei Shenzong's mountain protection formation. Also overcast them. Not only that, Li Su's growth is frighteningly fast, and his strength is also frighteningly strong. Otherwise, even if Sun Dong's body is shattered, his soul can still escape if he wants to. Fortunately, although he was severely injured, his sex was still there. But at this time, Li Su has turned into a stream of light from behind, rushing up at a terrifying speed. Its speed is surprisingly faster than his refining spirit. What kind of secret technique is this? Jing Lao panicked, even though he was at the 3rd level of void refining, but now that he has suffered heavy injuries, once Li Su catches up with him, the ending will be unpredictable. Seeing that Li Su had almost caught up with him in a short period of time, Jing Lao gritted his teeth and suddenly abandoned his body, his soul soaring into the sky. Li Su is already approaching, and the attack has come. In desperation, Jing Lao Yuanshan rushed to the distance in an instant. The speed of the primordial spirit is not comparable to the speed of the physical body, otherwise why would Lianshu be able to control the battlefield thousands of miles around? This strong man of the 3rd level of refinement, 487, was actually forced by Li Su to give up his physical body. The role of the physical body for cultivators is too great. Without the physical body, the primordial spirit would have no shelter. The primordial spirit in the refining stage, without the protection of the physical body, will continue to lose power. Even if you go to seize the house, there will be many problems. The stronger you are, the bigger the problems will be. Otherwise, why don't some strong people who have grown up even though their aptitudes are poor, give up their bodies like spiritual roots, and take away those cultivators who have not yet grown up and have excellent spiritual roots? Own body is the best. Only the devil cultivator likes the genius who wins the house. For immortal cultivators, it is often a last resort to choose to seize the house. Boom. Jing Lao's body was mercilessly smashed to pieces by Li Su. This guy slips away very quickly. I can keep him if I stay a little late. Beside Li Su, Xuanshan sect's voice sounded. When Li Su saw it, what appeared next to him was the Yuanshan headed by Xuanshan sect. Immediately afterwards, the primordial spirit of Peak Lord Dian also returned from a distance, and handed Li Su a storage bag. It seems that she is also going after old Fu. The speed of the primordial spirit is indeed much faster than that of the physical body. He ran away, but I severely injured him. Even if he seized his body, he would not be able to refine the void. Dai Yunfang led the way. Seeing Li Su gaining the upper hand, she was not prepared to intervene. But after Li Su killed Sun Dong with the help of the magnetic field with the help of a monster, she decided to take action. Let's do it now. The icing on the cake, the effect is also very good. It's better to send carbon in the snow, but Li Su is too strong, she doesn't have this opportunity, so that's the icing on the cake. It's just that Lianshu itself is easy to kill, and Jing Lao is extremely cautious. Seeing that the situation is not right, he doesn't go head to head with Li Su, and just throws down his body and runs away.
Even Peak Master Dian couldn't catch up after chasing him thousands of miles away because he was too far away.
The main reason is that her physical body is outside, and the primordial spirit cannot chase too far, otherwise the risk is too great. But she also severely injured Jing Lao, and also obtained the storage bag that Jing Lao dropped in order to escape. Thank you, Senior, for making the move, Li Su said. Haha, Li Su, I was almost frightened by you. I'll tell you more about it when I return to my original state. The soul of Tinluo sect leader also came. The souls of the three left quickly. This battle has also come to an end. Li Su looked towards Mangkang Mountain, and the Yuan magnetic barrier hadn't calmed down yet. The power of this metamagnetic barrier is indeed terrifying, and the power of counterattack is astonishing. If Mr. Jing didn't have that Dao talisman, he and Sun Dong would have to die in the counterattack of this metamagnetic barrier. Of course, it is unrealistic to expect others to have no cards. The Yuan magnetic barrier is a dead thing after all, and dead things have limitations, unlike the cultivator. Even if these two refiners are barely able to refine the spirit, they still have their own advantages. Li Su Fei went to Fei Shenzong. Seeing Li Su approaching, the head ant opened the big formation and flew out. Li Su, are you okay? The ant in charge asked with concern, for fear that Li would be injured. The face of the sect leader who followed her closely also showed deep concern. The head ant is actually not old. When Li Su saw her before, she had the image of a middle-aged woman, but this was actually a disguise she made to avoid being recognized by that woman. She is in an Eastern family that is comparable to half of sacred land, so how could she not have Zuyan pill or something like that? Her spiritual roots is actually not bad, her cultivation base is also not weak, and it only took more than 200 years to become a nascent soul. It's just that in order to find the head, hundreds of years have not made much progress. It's okay, Master, how about the consumption? Li Su asked. Fortunately, about half of the spirit stones are consumed. Master said. Li Su came back in time. If it was later, the spirit stones would have been consumed by more than half. They were all consumed, and in the end they couldn't be stopped. Li Su took out a lot of things from Jing Lao's storage bag, and then handed the storage bag to the head. Master, you take these spirit stones. As the third level of void refining, the spirit stones in Jing Lao's storage bag are surprisingly more than the total inventory of Fei Shenzong before. Refining emptiness is refining emptiness, and the degree of wealth far exceeds that of Washan. Li Su guessed that among these spirit stones, there might be a deposit paid by that woman to Mr. Jing. Now, it's all Li Sus. Li Su took half of the spirit stones and gave the other half to the master. As for the other things inside, Li Su also took away all of them, planning to study them later. Li Su, you and the Li family also need. Master, take it.
Before the master could speak, Su stuffed the storage bag into her hand. Li Su, Master, if you feel sorry, go to the integrated union early and give me a baby. The head is still declining, because she feels that Ji Li owes too much. This time, the woman dispatched 2 refiners. But Li Su's words directly made her speechless at all, and her face turned red to her neck all of a sudden.
She didn't expect that after her aunt said she was in charge of marrying her to Li Su, after decades of seeing each other, Li Su would be so bold that he would even say such blushing words. Ignore you. The leader couldn't stay any longer, and quietly disappeared after leaving a sentence. Her words sounded like coquettishness. The leader has never spoken in such a tone. Seeing this, Li Su had no choice but to give the storage bag to the aunt in charge. At this time, the Lord Dai Yongfeng and the others were also approaching. This time it was no longer the primordial spirit, but the bodies of several people. The 5 elements spirit dragon of the void refinement stage of the 10,000 Beasts sect has also flown over. On 5 elements Linglong, the sect leader of Wanshuzong and several talented female cultivators of Gaiyuanzong looked at Li Su one by one, still full of surprise. This battle shocked them one by one. A virtual cultivator died in the hands of Li Su. Although, this refinement is the kind of cultivator that gathers the strength of a lifetime and can only reach the early stage of refinement. Li Su also borrowed the power of the Yuan magnetic barrier, but this is also unbelievable. Ordinary peak transformation gods, even the geniuses of first-rank spiritual roots, can at most be tied with Sun Dong. But Li Su was pressing down on Sun Dong the whole time. Sun Dong couldn't beat it at all. Even if this guy used the Sun Li Huo talisman, he still couldn't do anything to Li Su. In the end, even Yuanshan couldn't escape. Facing the aggressive Li Su, Jing Lao, who was seriously injured, even voluntarily gave up his body in order to escape for his life. Although he escaped, his vitality was also seriously injured. Fighting against the two major alchemists alone, but achieved the result of 1 death and 1 injury. Such a Li Su, how can you not be amazed? All the girls looked at Li Su with splendor. Li Su, if my guess is correct, these two people probably come from the Dongfang family in Tianlin realm. At this time, the voice of Peak Lord Dian sounded. Li Su glanced at the An who was next to the sect head, and said, "Yes, senior." Dai Yunfeng said, "The Dongfang family is comparable to half of sacred land. If you kill 2 of them this time, there will be endless troubles. However, we return to Yuanzong as the landlord in the Kanglin realm. Even if we enter the Kanglin realm and attack you, we will not sit idly by." "Thank you, senior." Li Su didn't explain too much. The grievances between the head and the family are mainly because of that woman. That woman, in a short period of time, has not been able to clean up the emptiness. This series of actions of hers was probably concealed from other members of the family, and the 2 practitioners invited this time were just 2 very ordinary practitioners. Where did she get the ability to invite the Master of the Void? However, there is no need for Ji Su to explain these to Dai Yunfeng. "Li Su, if you and the Oriental girl need resources for cultivation, you can buy them from me. You can use spirit stones or medicine pill." After seeing Li Su's monster this time, Peak Lord Dian originally wanted to win Li Su over at all costs. But she also thought that there are still more than 40 years left in the 100-year agreement with Li Su. No matter it is her, or the heads of the other 3 second-rank fairy sects, they will not be able to invite Li Su for 100 years. Therefore, Peak Master Dian stopped abruptly. But she also expressed her goodwill again. Considering the lack of resources above the Washan in the northern border, she said that she could sell resources to Li Su. It's selling, not giving away. Because she knew that if she gave it away, Li Su would probably not want it. "Thank you, senior. Junior is just in need of some resources. I will go to Gui Yuanzong to visit after I finish handling the affairs of the sect." The words of Peak Lord Dian solved a big problem for Li Su. "Little friend, our Xuanshan Academy also has a lot of resources. What you need, just tell me." The head of Xuanshan Academy and the sect leader of Tinluozong also expressed their opinions. "Li Su, our Myriad Beast sect has a lot of elixir. I'll bring you some next time." Wanshu sect leader also made a crisp sound. "This girl always looks like a pink and tender." The resources of these 3 sects are not as good as Gui Yuanzong's, but they can still gather a lot of resources that are useful for Washan. They also had this intention before, but Li Su was not urgent at that time. Now, after the sect master has left the customs this time, he has reached the 4th level of Washan, and he is in great need of cultivation resources. As for Li Su's other concubines, there is no rush. But you can also prepare some in advance. Li Su is located in the elixir garden in Mangkang Mountain, and he can also plant some elixir, and wait for them to grow slowly. He is planning to create a family that is even more terrifying than the background of the Dongfang family. Some things are laid out in advance. Thank you, seniors. Li Su's etiquette has been exhausted. This time a few Lianshu followed to check the situation, although they didn't make a move, but if Li Su really lost, they would all make a move. Anyway, acknowledgements are a must. Thank you, you defeated it by yourself, using God to kill Lianshu, Li Su. This time you have greatly grown the face of our Kanglin realm. Tinluozong sect leader laughed. That's right, although there is no sacred land in the Kanglin realm, in time, Li Su, your name will be louder than the sacred land genius. The head of Xuanshan Academy couldn't help but say, Li Su, you want Little Heart's demon Shu. If the news of this battle spreads, and there is no big force behind you, the devil cultivator will probably follow you. There are still more than 40 years before our centennial agreement. In the past 40 years, I will send people to pay attention to the surrounding situation. Peak Lord Dian reminded. In fact, she wanted to say, Li Su, you can join our Gui Yuanzong, with Gui Yuanzong as your backer. Even the Dongfang family Gui Yuanzong can be tough for you. As for the devil cultivator, there are still very few magic gates that have reached the first rank fairy gate level. There are not many devil cultivators at the level of transforming gods, and there are even fewer void refining ones. After all, thunder tribulation is fatal. However, among the magic gates, there is also a magic gate comparable to Sacred Land. Although there is only one magic gate, that demon gate has made many fairy gates change their colors. These demonic gates alone occupy a realm, and they are constantly trying to infiltrate. Many sacred lands have joined forces to break in, but they failed in the end. Thank you, Senior, for the reminder. It's okay, if that's the case, we won't stay any longer. After the reminder, Peak Master Dian was also very decisive. Seeing that Li Su still had something to deal with, he didn't stay any longer. The head of Xuanshan Academy and Tinluo sect leader also left one after another. They didn't want to bother Li Su too much, especially after this battle. They valued Li Su even more. The sect leader of the 10,000 beasts would like to stay a little longer. Li Su, after they all want to travel to the northern border, I will take them around. The Pink and Pink Wanshuzong sect leader said. After finishing speaking, she drove the 5-element spirit dragon in the void refinement stage to look at the fairy fish. Don't look, he's all in. On the 5-element spirit dragon, a talented female nun from Gui Yuanzong playfully stretched out her hand, waved it in front of another female nun, and said, "Where do you want to go?" The sect leader of the 10,000 Beast sect asked. "Go to Los Angeles and have a look, I heard that Li Su has been living there before." A talented nun seems to have developed a strong interest in Li Su.
What about you? Okay. Other talented female cultivators, including Tian, AA also nodded, and they did the same.
Then let's go to Los Angeles. The sect leader of the 10,000 Beast sect also showed interest. She is the only one among several second-rank fairy sect leaders who is not a virtual refiner, and her mentality is more lively. On Mangkang Mountain, calm down. With the help of this oscillation of the metamagnetic barrier, Li Su further studied the metamagnetic barrier. Should be in the middle. The 2 refining attacks gave Li Su an unexpected harvest. With the help of this counterattack of the Yuan magnetic barrier, Li Su's research on this natural feng shui formation deepened, and thus he found out the specific location of the fairy artifact fragments. It should be in the middle of Mangkang Mountain. In this way, Li Su studied until late at night, still studying above the sky. Night fell. Beside Li Su, a figure quietly appeared. Li Su saw that it was the master. Master. Li Su smiled. The head came to Li Su's side. If you look carefully, she was actually barefoot all the time. Even when walking, the head's feet did not touch the ground. The master sat next to Li Su, with his knees bent and his chin resting on his hands, looking like an 18-year-old young girl. Li Su, I'll sit by your side for a while, the master said softly. Oh. Li Su continued to study the metamagnetic barrier. In the sky, the moon rose, and the bright moonlight fell freely on the 2 of them, covering the land and the 2 of them with a layer of silver makeup. Under the night, Li Su was still researching the Yuan magnetic barrier under the moonlight. His research is more focused and selfless. Under the attack of the 2 Lianshu, the Yuan magnetic barrier experienced a huge shock, which brought the best time for research. On the side, the head was sitting next to Li Su, his eyes were like black pearls. Thousands of stars in the night sky are printed inside, as well as what Li Su looks like. Just like that, the headmaster sat beside Li Su silently for several hours. A few hours later, her gaze shifted and moved to Li Su's body, and she looked at Li Su like this for more than an hour. On the cheeks, red clouds flew up. Shafei's cheeks made her look extraordinarily delicate. The night became darker and darker. The vibration of the Yuan magnetic barrier also began to calm down. Li Su stopped his research, and this time he gained a lot. He can further use this natural feng shui array to strengthen the defense of Fei Shenzong and Li family. After stopping the research, Li Su noticed that there was an extra head on his own shoulder. When he turned his head, he saw that the headmaster had put his little head on his shoulder and fell asleep without knowing when. Immortal cultivators do not need to sleep. If they are seriously injured, they often need to sleep to recover slowly. Usually, powerful immortal cultivators can practice instead of sleeping, but they also need to take a break from time to time. The sect leader's ability to fall asleep next to Li Su is enough to show how at ease she feels when she is by Li Su's side. And Li Su is also very relieved about the master, so when Li Su focused on research before, he didn't notice it. You know, no matter how focused he is, Li Su will be able to react immediately if there is any disturbance outside or an enemy is attacking. Li Su didn't move, just flicked a few times with his fingers, silently blocking the cold wind around, and the temperature around here also rose a lot. Although with the body of the head of Washan middle stage, he will not get sick at all. Then, Li Su sat there, sniffing the fragrance emanating from the sect master, and was in a daze. His mood was surprisingly calm. Time passed bit by bit. The moon began to set, and the sky gradually brightened. The first ray of sunlight hits. Why is it dawning so soon? Li Su felt that time passed a little fast. The sun shines on the head's hair, giving it a gentle color. The headmaster's long eyelashes moved, and she woke up. Li Su. Why did I fall asleep? The headmaster realized that he had slept on Li Su's body all night, and his face turned red. While speaking, she turned her head away from Li Su and brushed her messy hair. Master, don't move. Li Su's voice sounded. The head's hand stopped by his ear, and there was a questioning look in his eyes. Li Su's gaze was on her pretty face. At this time, the head of the sect, like a sea dress just waking up from a spring sleep, has a different kind of beauty. In terms of appearance, the leader is the most handsome among the nuns Li Su has ever seen. Although her strength is not bad, her temperament is also the most unique in Li Su's opinion. Then, Li Su took out a small magic treasures, pressed it lightly, and inside, a white piece of paper appeared. The head took a look, and on the paper was her portrait. However, it is different from ordinary portraits. The portrait is too real, just like what the eyes see. In the portrait, the sect leader is brushing up his somewhat messy hair, his brows are shy, and he is so beautiful. Li Su, how did you make the portrait so quickly? The head is curious. Li Su handed the magic treasures to the master. Master, it's very simple, just press it, and it will come out. Naturally, Li Su imitated the camera, but it is more powerful than the camera before time travel. Just take a photo, and you can get a photo with adjustable size. As long as there is no artificial damage to this photo, it can be preserved for more than 10,000 years. The principle of a camera is used, but Li Su turns it into a magic treasures, which is naturally different. The head of the sect operated curiously, and after pressing on the Mangkang mountain, a photo came out, which made her feel rather novel. She clicked on Li Su again, and Li Su's handsome appearance also appeared in the photo. Li Su, give me this portrait. Okay, Li Su agreed. Master, let's take a group photo. Then, road. Group photo? The head doesn't quite understand the word yet. Li Su picked up the camera magic treasures and approached the door. Master, turn your head towards me, Li Su said. The head of the sect turned his head in cooperation, and Li turned his head too. Master, raise your right hand, like this. Li Su demonstrated again. The master didn't know, so he raised his right hand just like Li Su did. Then, Li Su also raised his left hand and compared his heart with the head. Before the head could react, the camera flashed for a moment, and then, a picture the size of a scroll appeared. As soon as the headmaster saw the photo, he sensed something was wrong. Although she didn't know the meaning of comparing hearts, she found that her posture with Li Su seemed a little too close, and the image formed by her hands and Li Su's hands seemed to be a heart. The headmaster suddenly realized something, and his pretty face blushed. Li Su, give me this portrait too. The leader picked up the photo and disappeared. Seeing the disappearing master, Li Su showed a smile. The head's face is really too thin. In the camera magic treasures, an identical photo appeared again. This photo, Li Su is ready to collect it. It was dark. Li Su spent some more time repairing and perfecting the protective array of Feishanzong. Then, he went to Zhongzhou again. On the way, Li Su met many Zhongzhou cultivators who were going to the northern border. He didn't show up, and came all the way to Guiyuanzong. This time, Li Su came to Yuanzong to buy some things. The head of the sect has already reached the 4th level of Washan, and he will need a lot of training resources in the future. With her aptitude, if she really needs resources, if she joins any sacred land, the resources will be enough. But the leader has no intention of leaving. Therefore, Su didn't feel that he had paid too much. Even if it is a sacrifice, in Li Su's opinion, it is worthwhile and happy. Li Su boasted so much at the beginning and kept her by his side, so naturally he would not let her live a hard life with him. Li Su. Seeing Li Su again, Lord Dian was very happy. "Senior, let me do some shopping." "Of course can." Peak Master Dian said cheerfully. She was going to take Li Su there personally, otherwise some of the cultivation resources used to transform the gods would not be sold at all, and even if they were sold, the price would be terribly high. In order to win over Li Su, Master Dian is planning to quietly increase the price, so that Li Su can enjoy a price that is a little lower than the price of additional resources purchased by core disciples. With Dian Peak Lord leading the way, the trip went smoothly. Guiyuanzong has a long history, and various cultivation resources, especially Heaven and Earth Elixir, Spiritual Herbs Elixir, are very rich. These, very high-level spiritual herbs, are also tens of thousands of years old. Guiyuanzong's Elixir Garden is on a peak of Guiyuanzong's 9 peaks. It's called Panacea Peak. The Elixir Peak is too big, it is divided into large and small areas with thousands of yuan, and some areas have been sealed up for a long time. Usually, except for entering spiritual qi into it, I don't open it at all, and the elixir inside is also very good. Li Su does not blindly pursue the properties of medicines. Overdose of medicines is sometimes a waste. For example, those tens of thousands of years of low-level elixirs obtained from the original fairy gate in the northern border, unless they have been upgraded, in Li Su's view, it is really a bit of a waste. Why is this spiritual ginseng still born with spiritual wisdom? Well, after the high-level elixir grows for a long time, there is a certain probability of giving birth to wisdom. The advantage of birthing spirit is that it can be picked repeatedly. Oh, then I want some spirit ginseng meat. On the elixir peak, Li Su gained a lot. It took 3 days to fully heal. Peak Lord Dian's patience was exceptionally good, and he followed Li Su for 3 full days. It's just that she found that Li Su's choice is a bit too much. Although there are many, Li Su is not greedy. He chooses those that are very useful for transforming the gods at present, and he does not choose the ones that are too precious. It's too precious, and I don't need it right now. The number is too many, but it's actually not too much. Li Su is very measured, and he didn't know how to restrain himself because Peak Lord Dian made a special case for him. Peak Master Dian felt that the reason for the large number was more because she felt that Ji Su might not be able to pay the money. Although Li Su is powerful, but Li Su is in the north after all. The resources in the north are few, and the spirit stones are few. Zongdu sold. Can't afford it. No, I can't afford to sell all the fairy gates in the northern border. This is useful for all the late stages in Washan, and there are quite a few of them. It is simply unrealistic for Beihai to obtain these resources in Guiyuanzong. Beihai's status is not enough, and Beihai can only get a small amount of resource supply every few years, and the price is surprisingly high. Otherwise, why would Beihai go outside to look for it? Therefore, Peak Master Dian is already thinking about how to help Li Su get these resources. If Li Su's spirit stones are not enough, she can fill them up first. Peak Master. These spiritual herbs, elixir and spiritual objects of heaven and earth need a total of 2,688,972 low-grade spirit stones, and you can take a whole 268 square spirit stones. The person who sits in charge of the elixir peak is also a refiner, but an old man in the early stage of refinement. His strength should be much stronger than that of Sun Dong. Guiyuanzong didn't have many refiners, but there were quite a few of them. The peak masters of the 3 heavens were all late-stage masters of refinement. The 6 little peak masters might also be refining the void, but they are just the middle stage. 2.68 million spirit stones. Moreover, this is Guiyuanzong's spirit stones, and if it is replaced by the previous Feishenzong's spirit stones unit, it needs to be multiplied by more than 20. Good guy, these spiritual herbs elixir are not ordinary valuable. It's normal, in fact. If it wasn't for Peak Master Dian, Guiyuanzong wouldn't even be able to sell 10 times as many spirit stones. Li Su, I can cover for you first. Dai Yunfang led the way. Li Su pondered for a while, and said, Peak Lord, can a top-grade treasure be worth these elixir? Do you have the ultimate treasure? Master Dai Yunfang's eyes lit up. No, but as long as you have the materials, I can tailor one for you. Li Su said. This is his plan, to exchange the best treasures for elixir, because he really doesn't have so many spirit stones. Even if he got the storage bag of the third-level alchemist, there were only hundreds of thousands of spirit stones in it. As for Sun Dong's storage bag inside, some things exploded, but the spirit stones inside were shattered a lot during the counterattack of the Yuan magnetic barrier. The demand for spirit stones from Li Su's concubines and descendants is constantly increasing, so Li Su naturally wants to keep some spirit stones in his hands. We have the material, Li Su, a top-grade treasure. Even if we produce the material, the value is higher than these spiritual herbs. You can choose some more. Peak Master Dian was a little excited. The most convenient items in the void refining stage are top-grade and top-grade treasures. Master Dai Yunfang naturally had to use the best treasures to take advantage of it. There are not many craftsmen who can create top-grade treasures, and Gui Yuanzong is not particularly good at refining crafts, even if it is the first-rank immortal sect. Generally, there is only Sacred Land, which spent a lot of energy to train some top refiners and pill refining masters, otherwise why would it be called Sacred Land? Since a powerful craftsman died of old age in Guiyuanzong, there has been no successor. The current refiner can at best create middle-grade treasures. If it is a top-grade treasure, you have to go to other places and spend a lot of money to find some powerful craftsmen to make it. But the best treasures are not so easy to make, and the craftsmen who can make them often need very tricky things. Spirit stones are not rare. What people want more is some rare medicine pill or heaven and earth spirits that prolong life and improve cultivation base. This involves another problem. Rare medicine pills also need to find a powerful pill refining master, and the things that pill refining masters need are often extremely rare. It's too difficult to complete this loop. As a direct result, Peak Master Dian now only has one top-grade treasure in, which is not a complete set. Li Su said that she can create it. How could this not excite her? Alright then, Peak Master, prepare the materials, I'll go back to the northern border, and I'll build it in a year. Li Su said. It is good. Peak Master Dian was not worried that Li Su would never return. So, Li Su went back to the northern border. After he came back this time, the cultivators who came from Zhangzhou arrived one after another with a fast speed. Li Su practiced pills for 3 consecutive months in Feishenzong. Then he came to Immortal Cave, which is in charge of closed-door training. Today the master is not in the Immortal Cave Hall. Li Su searched all the way, and came to the secret room of the head of closed-door training, and found that on the wall of her secret room, there was a photo of his heart-to-heart relationship with the head. Li Su, you are here. Behind him, the sound of the door sounded. A figure flashed, and she stood between Li Su and the wall, as if she was afraid that Li Su would find the photos on the wall. Master, I have prepared some medicine pills and spiritual items for you, which should be enough for you to use for a long time in closed-door training. Li Su pretended not to see it. For the sect leader, cultivation is the most important thing now.
Although Li Su really wants the head to have a baby for her, but now the head is focused on impacting the higher realm, Li Su doesn't want to influence her.
Li Su, thank you, Master. There is no need to say thank you, the disciple will leave. Li Su stopped the head's words and left her place. Li Su, before leaving, the voice of the headmaster sounded again. As soon as Li Su turned his head, the delicate body of the sect master was already in his arms. This is the second time the head has embraced Li Su. This one hugs, very lightly. Li Su, before refining the emptiness, I need to maintain a pure yin body, wait for me to refine the emptiness. Halfway through the conversation, the person in charge disappeared again. Li Su was taken aback. What does it mean to be in charge? Immediately, before the sect master disappeared, the blush on Li Su's pretty face made Li Su realize that if the sect master omitted it, wouldn't it mean? After she refines the void, Li Su can. For a moment, Li Su couldn't help thinking about it. After leaving Feishenzong, Li Su stayed in Li Mansion, Shueui Gate, and Linhai City for some time. For the remaining months, Li Su worked hard. He is now at the peak of God transformation. He needs to accumulate cultivation base, rush to the perfection of God transformation, and then break through refining the void in one fell swoop. This wave of hard work will yield a wave of harvest next year. A few months later, Li Su Li left the northern border and went to Zhangzhou to refine top-grade treasures for Master Dai Yun. This time it didn't take long, and it happened to use Gui Yuanzong's materials to practice his hands. And when Li Su went to Zhangzhou, this year had passed, and the Battle of Mangkang Mountain had completely spread in Zhangzhou and other realms. It attracted the shock of countless cultivators. Li Su used the Peak of Washan to fight against the two major refiners, and even caused 1 death and 1 injury to the two major refiners. This kind of fierce record completely made Li Su's name resound throughout the entire Kanglan world. Next, Li Su stayed in Li Mansion, Shueui Gate, and Linhai City for some time. For the remaining months, Li Su worked hard. He is now at the peak of God transformation. He needs to accumulate cultivation base, rush to the perfection of God transformation, and then break through refining the void in one fell swoop. This wave of hard work will yield a wave of harvest next year. A few months later, Li Su Li left the northern border and went to Zhangzhou to refine top-grade treasures for Master Dai Yun. I owed a debt before, and now I have to pay it back. This time it didn't take long, and it happened to use Gui Yuanzong's materials to refine his hands. And when Li Su went to Zhangzhou, this year had passed, and the Battle of Mangkang Mountain had completely spread in Zhangzhou and other realms. It attracted the shock of countless cultivators. Li Su used the Peak of Washan to fight against the two major refiners, and even caused 1 death and 1 injury to the two major refiners. Such a fierce record completely made Li Su's name resound throughout the entire Kanglan world. North. Every day, some flying boats come from other directions, and these flying boats travel to the northern border from cultivators in other realms of the Kanglan realm. After the battle in Mangkang Mountain, Li Su's name resounded throughout the Kanglan realm, which also made the cultivators of other realms more interested in the northern territory. There are more cultivators traveling to the north. After these cultivators entered the northern territory, it was no surprise that they were most interested in Li Su's various deeds. It was heard before, but now, they can finally inquire and verify it in person. Los Angeles, where the Li family is located, has become the favorite place for these cultivators. Some elderly people in Los Angeles have become the favorite objects of the cultivators. Therefore, those old people who have lived to be 70 or 80 years old can meet immortals with great powers almost every day. These old people are about to die, and they can still reach the pinnacle of life. For them, being able to see immortals every day, talk to immortals every day, and get some benefits from these immortals from time to time, is indeed the pinnacle of life. There are still a lot of gold cores in Zhangzhou and other borders. After all, the population base is there. If these gold cores are dispersed, the density is still very small. But when brought together, it will naturally give people a feeling of gold core everywhere. Just like Li Su walking on the campus of Peking University before time travel, there will be an illusion that there are as many bullies as dogs, everywhere as bullies, and bullies are as worthless as Chinese cabbage. In fact, it is because the Peking University campus has concentrated the best students in the country. Once dispersed throughout the country, it will become sparse. When Gui Yuanzong saw Li Su, I felt that this person was extraordinary. I never thought that he is such a monster. I am afraid that he is the most outstanding genius in Sacred Land, and he cannot be compared with him. That's right. With Washan fighting against Lianshu, with 1 against 2, one can be killed and the other wounded, it's simply invincible. I heard that the number of female cultivators from the other 4 realms of Kanglan recently went to the northern territory is very large. After hearing that Li Su likes to take concubines, many female cultivators want to become his concubines. On a flying boat, several cultivators walking together were discussing there. In the air, Li Su passed by quietly. The current him, in the 5 realms of Kanglan, has completely spread his reputation. Li Su didn't care too much, and soon, he appeared in Gui Yuanzong again. Peak Lord Daiyan has prepared all the materials. The magic treasures she is going to build are called Butterfly Cloud Sword, which is a very beautiful magic treasures like a butterfly, which can be attacked and defended. Dai Yunfang talked about own needs, and Li Su communicated with her in detail for a long time, and even asked Dai Yunfang to take the initiative and discussed with him for several days. After figuring out the true essence characteristics, attacking methods and means of Peak Lord Daiyan, Su began to build it. But as the past few days passed, Master Dian became more and more appreciative of Li Su. When Li Su was sparring, the combat prowess of Duan Yi that she showed also shocked her. Although it is impossible for Li Su to beat her now, but after she lowered the cultivation base, Li Su can also fight with her without a hitch. Is Li Su coming to Yuanzhong? The news that Li Su was returning to Yuanzhong also spread out. You can always see a lot of cultivators outside the refinery. Most of these cultivators are not strong, and people are always changing. After all, cultivators are not ordinary people who like to watch the excitement. Some cultivators just came to check on the situation and found that Li Su was not there, so they went to practice again. As for the genius cultivators of Gui Yuanzhong, the male cultivators are all immersed in their cultivation. The emergence of Li Su has also brought invisible pressure to these talented cultivators, especially some talented cultivators who love to compare themselves with others. As for the female cultivators, many of them are still practicing, but from time to time, some female cultivators can be seen outside the refining room. In the refining room, Peak Master Dian personally served as Li Su's assistant. Other than that, only Gui Yuanzhong's refining master was eligible to enter. This was Li Su's agreement after Peak Master Dian's special request. The level of the refining master is not bad, and he can even refine middle-grade treasures. His master's level is higher, and he can barely refine top-grade treasures, but unfortunately his life essence is exhausted. As for higher-level Dao items, ordinary refiners cannot refine them at all. From the birth of Guiyuanzong to the present, there has never been a refiner who can refine Dao item. With the experience of repairing the sacred artifacts in the Sea Clan last time, and Li Su's refinement cultivation base has been further improved, Li Su is faster this time. It took only 1 year, and after making a few small mistakes, Li Su successfully refined a set of top-grade treasures needed by Peak Master Dian. In fact, it doesn't take a year, it's just that Li Su tried a few more methods in order to improve his skills. Dian Sr., try it and see how it goes, Li Su said. Dian happily took it and injected it with true essence. Soon, I saw countless butterflies flying in the sky. This butterfly cloud sword is exceptionally graceful and light, and its power is also extremely terrifying. The more beautiful things are often the more dangerous. Thank you, Li Su, I owe you a favor. After Dai Yunfeng tried it out, he was extremely satisfied. This set of top-grade treasures refined by Li Su is considered top-grade among top-grade treasures. Are completely tailored for her. If that's the case, then I will take my leave. Li Su, favors belong to favors. This set of butterfly cloud sword is extremely precious. It is worth more than those elixir and spiritual objects. You can still choose some things. Peak Lord Dian said again, it is good. Li Su was not polite. This time he chose some refining materials, and then left. Master Dian sent Li Su out of Guiyuanzong all the way. Seeing that Li Su is actually able to refine top-grade treasures, the value of Li Su has risen to another level. At the same time, Master Dian's evaluation of Li Su was also higher. Soon, Li Su returned to the north. After Li Su returned to the northern border, his hard work last year has already ushered in the harvest. He has also taken on quite a few new concubines in recent years. It can also be cultivated carefully. His descendants began to show explosive growth. Every day, a large number of offspring are born. Small rewards also keep coming. This has allowed Li Su's cultivation base to continue to grow. In the following time, Li Su did not leave the northern border again. He continued to strengthen his own means and deployed more preventive measures in Mangkang Mountain and Wangshenjiao. A large number of heaven and earth formations were quietly set up by Li Su. This time, the two major refiners, one dead and one wounded, the results of the battle are brilliant. But it is not to be taken lightly. Those two major refiners are, after all, average qualified refiners, and Li Su's current strength has not yet broken through refiners. The woman in charge of the family has become more and more in control of the family, and the resources she can mobilize are also increasing. Therefore, on the one hand, Li Su must reach Lianshu as soon as possible. On the other hand, Li Su also needs to plan ahead and make some preparations in advance. The ancient books of Xuanshan Academy are very useful, and Li found a lot of useful things from them. Began to continue to lay out in Wangshenzhou. At the same time, Li Su also continued to take concubines. This time, after he became famous in the Kanglan world, there are countless female cultivators who want to be his disciple. There are many female cultivators in other realms. Satisfied the conditions of the system, the spiritual roots are excellent, the appearance is high, and the character is not bad. Li Su is also continuously included in the family. On Mangkang Mountain, Li Su's concubinage ceremony took place 10 times one after another. This also allowed those cultivators who traveled to the northern border to truly see how much Li Su likes to take concubines. And as they spread, Li Su's preference for taking concubines has also aroused wider discussion. In this way, after several years of development in the northern border, no new enemies have been ushered in. Li Su's descendants have also been increasing in recent years, and tens of thousands of people can be added every year. In fact, the system has some restrictions on the offspring of Li Su, including offspring of offspring. The reason why Li Su implements an extremely strict family tradition, and the offspring must also fully agree with the woman to marry a wife, is also because of the limitations of the system. If the offspring use coercive means, even if the offspring is born, there will be no rewards, and the offspring of this offspring will also not be rewarded. Coupled with Li Su's abhorrence of coercive behavior, so even now, the Li family's family style is still terribly strict. On this day, Li Su Ying had a special visitor. Li Sr., I'm Shu Kejun, from sacred land Wenshan Shuigang. As soon as the other party came up, he introduced himself directly. This guy is from a sacred land. No need to guess, Li Su knows that this person is probably trying to poach him. This is to dig the corner of Kanglan realm. When he was in Gaiyuanzong, Li Su also learned that thousands of years ago, Gaiyuanzong had a genius with the first-rank spiritual roots, who was poached by a sacred land. I don't know if it's Wenshan Shuigang. Senior, Wenshan Shuigang is located in Tianxuan realm, and the head of Xuanshan Academy in Kanglan realm was once a disciple of the academy, but he was expelled from the academy because he violated the regulations of the academy. In the living room, the voice of a cultivator surnamed Shu from Wenshan Academy resounded. What he said made Li Su's eyelids lift. Headmaster Lu of Xuanshan Academy also came from Wenshan camp. However, Head Lu is different from Bai Hai. Even if Bai Hai is not valued in Gaiyuan sect, he is still an outer sect elders. The head of Lu was expelled from Wenshan Academy. I don't know what mistake he made back then. The head of Lu named own immortal sect Xuanshan Academy. I don't know if it has something to do with the name of Xuanshan realm. The cultivator surnamed Shu then introduced the power of Wenshan Academy. Senior, to be honest, although Gaiyuanzong is the first-rank fairy sect, only they think they are very close to sacred land. In fact, the gap between Gaiyuanzong and sacred land is 1,000 miles away. Shu's surname cultivator's words are full of antithesis. Zong's disdain. This kind of disdain is not obvious, but it can be clearly felt. Sacred land disciple, really extraordinary. A mere nascent soul, but devaluing a first-rank fairy gate to nothing. Ask Tianshui Palace, is this sincerity? Li Su was in no mood to listen anymore and interrupted him. The cultivator surnamed Shu was taken aback. Could it be that Li is only worthy of asking Tianshui Palace to send a nascent soul to invite? Perhaps, you think your nascent soul has a higher gold content than Li? Li Su looked at cultivator Shu and said calmly. Although his voice was flat, it brought inexplicable pressure to cultivator Shu. Senior, don't misunderstand me. I just came here to make initial contact with the senior. After all, Gui Yuanzong has the final say in the Kanglan realm. If the senior is interested, after I report it, there will be a school elder. Come and meet the senior in person. The cultivator surnamed Shu hurriedly said. Really? Since Tianshui Palace is so powerful, why do you care about returning to the clouds? Li Su said again. Senior, that's not the case. The main reason is that the Xianmeng has regulations. He hurriedly explained that he was about to break out in sweat. Li Su waved his hand. Needless to say, if you are sincere, you should know my hobbies, and the elder will be spared. If you can send 1 or 2 holy maidens, I can try it. Consider it. The cultivator surnamed Shu stagnates. Li Su's words made him a little dumbfounded. A holy maiden or two. Sacred Land really likes to set up holy sun, holy maiden and the like, and Huishan Shuiguan is no exception. But, I asked the holy maiden of Tianshui Palace, is it possible for Shu Kejin to come into contact with him? Holy maiden is a genius, proud, and extremely powerful. Even if the master of the school asks, holy maiden may not be willing to come to win over Li Su. After all, if you want to win people over, you must say good things. Your attitude must first be good, and your momentum must be low. Of course, the person who must be wooed must have a high enough value. Otherwise, people in Sacred Land will face ordinary cultivators, who doesn't look at people with their noses up, as if others owe him millions. Senior, I'll go and report. If the senior has any requests, you can tell them together. The attitude of the cultivator surnamed Shu is still very good. In front of others, he is actually very arrogant. But now in order to win over Li Su, no matter how he reports back and asks the senior management of Tianshui Palace how to make a decision, he must at least make a good impression on Li Su. Thousands of years ago, they poached Gui Yuanzong's first-rank spiritual roots genius in this way. This time, they focused on Li Su again. Second, they poached Tian Tian away, but Tian Tian had no intention of leaving Gui Yuanzong. This is staring at Gui Yuanzong to squeeze the wool. It's gone. That's it. Come and see off. After Li Su finished speaking, someone sent Shu Shang Cultivator out at the end of the season. Li Su didn't take this episode seriously, and he wasn't worried that he would offend a sacred land. With the increase of strength and increasing fame, this kind of thing is inevitable. At present, this sacred land named Wenshan Shuigang only knows about Li Su, and does not know the existence of the master. They also don't know the inside story of Li Su's battle with the two major refiners. Although Peak Master Daiyin and several masters of the Void refining stage knew some facts, they would not gossip around. It's time to get to the refinement, Li Su thought. Now, the head of the door has a substantial relationship with him. Although she has not married the door and has not yet given birth to him, she is already Li Su's woman. Her affairs are also Li Su's. Li Su himself has also entered the vision of Sacred Land, although there is only one Sacred Land at present. But Li Su also needs stronger strength. Therefore, he further increased the number of concubines. Now, most of the female cultivators from Zhongzhou are accepted. Basically, it is still based on gold core. Occasionally there is nascent soul too. His descendants began to be born continuously, and the descendants of spiritual roots were also born continuously. A few years later, the woman in the head family still hasn't made any moves. Li Su's guess was right. She won't make any big moves for the time being, and she is powerless to make any big moves. There was also no news about Wenshan Shuigang, which was just right for Li Su. He doesn't want to have too much contact with Sacred Land just yet. Peak Master Daiyin didn't come to bother Li Su either. There is still some time before the 100-year agreement. As for other second-rank immortal sects, Li Su would go to Xuanshan Academy from time to time. From time to time, one or two female disciples from Xuanshan Academy will be kidnapped again. The headmaster Lu has no choice but to take Li Su, but he is very happy to have Li Su in the past, because she can communicate with Li Su. Circle. In this way, some years later, when Li Su was 360 years old, his strength reached the perfection of transformation. Consummation. Li Su whispered. After the consummation of the spirit, the next step is to refine the void. Refinement. Li Su looked at the system panel. On the surface, there is not much change between refining emptiness and transforming spirit. Yuanshan is still Yuanshan. It's just that after refining the emptiness, the primordial spirit can fight in the expanding aperture, that is, to fight without the body for a certain period of time. Therefore, the refining void period was also called the expanding aperture period before. The biggest enhancement in the void refining stage is not Yuanshan expanding aperture, but the use and control of the rules of heaven and earth, the power of heaven and earth, and the power of heaven and earth. Every blow in the void refining stage can mobilize the power of heaven and earth to strengthen it. With the help of some magic treasures, the power of the world can also be mobilized in a wider range. Just like Jing Lao's virtual sun mirror, it can gather sunlight from thousands of miles around and condense it into a beam, which is extremely powerful. Therefore, the next realm of Washan changed from expanding aperture period to refining void period. Shu, the word, can be understood as emptiness, and generally refers to heaven and earth. Refining the power of heaven and earth, because it has been used. With the vitality of heaven and earth, the body is continuously nourished, and in theory, it has endless longevity. This is refining the void. It is not easy to refine the void from the breakthrough of the God. After Li Su reaches the consummation of God transformation, he can also break through by himself. Li Su found that if he broke through by himself, it might take a long time. Breakthrough refining the void needs to communicate with the heaven and the earth with the primordial spirit, and perform diva induction. This step alone requires a lot of time. Moreover, Li Su met the bottleneck again. In front of him, there seemed to be an invisible membrane again. Fortunately, this time the bottleneck gave Li Su the feeling that it was not as serious as last time. The appearance of the bottleneck is really irregular. Li Su's comprehension is actually very good. After reaching the peak of Washan, he encountered the bottleneck twice in a row. Li Su thinks this is a good thing, because he can further study the bottleneck. He wasn't afraid of the bottleneck, Ji could lie down anyway. But Li Su's concubines, descendants of Li Su's spiritual roots, are afraid of this thing. With Li Su's current attainments in pill refining, he can continue to study the bottleneck, 367, and then refine targeted medicine pills. There is still a little difference between the void refining stage and the spirit transformation stage. Li Su can shape the first rank gold core, nascent soul is the top nascent soul, and Yuanshan is the most powerful Zijin Yuanshan. However, Li Su's Zijin primordial spirit is still the Zijin primordial spirit in Lianshu, and there will be no qualitative change due to the breakthrough of XUXU. That is to say, the monstrosity in the transformation stage can continue in the void stage. However, even the same primordial spirit, after breaking through the void refining stage, there is still a big difference. This difference lies in the gap between communication and sensing the world, and when performing diva sympathy. Of course, this gap is not as obvious as the gap between Yuanshan. The strength of the primordial spirit is still the key factor that determines how much power the cultivator can mobilize. In short, the craftsman is still the decisive factor for the strength and weakness of the void refining stage. And the relationship between strength and weakness above refining emptiness and primordial spirit is also extremely great. Above Lianshu is the integrated union period, which is the realm where the leader can give birth to Li Su's baby. In the integrated union period, the main soul and the physical body are combined into one, which is equivalent to the return to self of all dharmas, thus becoming more powerful. This is also understandable. Why is the stage of becoming a god considered to be the starting point of becoming an immortal? If you look at it at a higher level, before refining the void, it is actually the foundation. Foundation establishment, gold core, nascent soul, and then Washan. Every step is the foundation. If the foundation is not laid well during the foundation establishment period, there will be no first rank gold core. Without the first rank gold core, it would be difficult to have the top nascent soul, and there would be no Zijin Yuanshan. In the stage of transforming the gods, it is a succession from the previous to the previous, and the grade and strength of the primordial spirit directly determine the width and narrowness of the road after practicing Jo. Although these foundations can be compensated to a certain extent after they are strengthened, it will take too much effort at that time. And after the fact, what can be made up is actually limited. Intensity is redeemable, but the essence or grade is difficult to make up for. It's just like Li Su's Zijin Yuanshan, or the head of the sect's Zhu Shanji, it's naturally unrealistic to build the Shanji after refining the void. 1,000 shattering void power, Li Su whispered. On the system panel, he break through refining void, at least only need 1,000 shattering void energy emperor. The upper limit is 2,589 shattering void energy. Shattering void energy contains what Li Su needs to break through the bottleneck, and this part of energy needs a lot. The quantity does not seem to be much, but the ratio of deadlock exchange is different. The conversion ratio is more than 10 years of cultivation base, exchange for 1 point of shattering void energy, and there will be some fluctuations later. In addition, unlike the previous breakthrough gold core, nascent soul, and Washan, This shattering void energy, Li Su senses the world and studies the laws of the world by himself. If there is any gain, it can save some shattering void energy. This is also a change in the system during the breakthrough refining period. Like the previous breakthrough gold core, if Li Su went to breakthrough by himself, he would not have the first rank gold core. But during the refining period, he already has the Zijin primordial spirit, and the primordial spirit will not undergo qualitative changes again, so Li Su can also break through by himself. There is still a gap between self-breakthrough and accumulating the maximum shattering void energy in the system, lying down and refining void. But what? Li Su can neutralize it. If he has time, he can go to understand the world and understand the rules by himself. Once there is a harvest, some energy-breaking areas can also be saved. No, Li Su discovered that he already needs nearly 300 points of shattering void energy. This nearly 300 shattering void energy comes from Li Su's current comprehension and harvest of the power of heaven and earth and the rules of heaven and earth. It's not bad, Li Su thought. He is also in a good mood. The changes in the void refining stage also fully demonstrated the importance of the previous foundation. Once the foundation in front is laid, the road behind will become wider and wider. Of course, compared to the next realm, the void refining stage can be regarded as the foundation to some extent. So, during the refining period, Li Su will still pursue better. He won't break through when the shattering void energy is 1000 points, and he still has to accumulate to the upper limit of the shattering void energy before breaking through. Even if it takes a little longer, it's not a big problem. Therefore, in the following time, Li Su continued to develop silently while feeling his own bottleneck. The entire northern border has become more lively than before. Communication and exchanges with other realms have also become more. Some cultivators who went out from the north also came back. Su Cheng in Mangkang Mountain has become the busiest place in the northern border, and there are more and more immortal cultivators living here. The scale of Su Cheng is getting bigger and bigger. Los Angeles is still the favorite place for cultivators from other borders to travel to the north. Except for a little bit of excitement, the northern border is generally calm. Bai Hai left again, but the cultivator surnamed Jin was still there. The head is still in closed-door training, and Yu Yu hasn't come back yet. Lu Xinshui, Lu Xingyue and the others are also cultivating with all their strength. Li Su has not seen them for many years, let's wait for them to send them off. Li Su still maintains the rhythm of taking a few concubines every year, and every time he takes a concubine, he is talked about by the cultivators who came to the north from other realms. Some well-known female cultivators in Zhongzhou will become the protagonists of Li Su's concubines from time to time, which makes many cultivators envious. This day, Li Su came to Beihai again. Father. As soon as he arrived in Beihai, a little mermaid fell into Su's house. This is Li Linger, the precious daughter of Li Su and Bai Ling. My daughter has grown up, but she is still so clingy to Li Su. This time Li Su came, mainly because Li Linger's strength has reached the 4th level, that is, nascent soul. This year Li Linger is only in her 120s. In his 120s, he achieved nascent soul. Although compared with the 100-year-old nascent soul of spiritual roots, it is more than 20 years slower. But the slow 20-plus years was worth it. Li Linger spent a lot of time further strengthening her own physique, laying a solid foundation for her future growth. There is still a difference between Merman and Zhaoran, and the route Li Suer took is, to a certain extent, equivalent to dual cultivation. Her body is very strong, but she also has a very powerful water attack method. In the sea, her fighting power will be extraordinarily strong. After going to sea, some discounts will naturally be discounted, which is natural. Linger, you did a great job. Li Su touched his daughter's little head and sang loudly. My daughter has also started to grow up. Currently, Li Linger is the first among his descendants to reach the nascent soul level. It also gave Li Su a good feedback. Her feedback rate is 100%. Li Su spent a lot of time with his daughter and Bai Ling in the Mermaid Land. The daughter was sensible, although she was very clingy to Li Su, she reluctantly let Li Su go. Because Li Su wants to share with her mother, Bai Ling, how much she misses each other. Among the mermaid tribe, there are several daughters of Li Su. Although their bloodlines are not as good as Li Linger's, the strongest one has reached the 3rd level, that is, Gold Core. Although Li Su's descendants in the Sea clan are small in number, they are the fastest growing group. Immediately afterwards, Li Su went to the Zhaoran tribe again. Not surprisingly, Fu Lin was still in closed-door training, but Kaelin was. So, Mr. Li Su pulled Kaelin. Then he looked at the situation of his daughters. Kaelin's daughter, who was born for him, has already reached the 3rd middle stage, and her speed is also very fast. Mo Lin's daughter, Li Zhener, is only in her 20s now, but she is about to reach the Gold Core. With the blood of a real dragon, she is indeed an evildoer. She may be faster than Ji Linger when she reaches the 4th level of nascent soul. Father, the arrival of Li Su naturally made Li Zhener extremely happy. Li Su stayed with her and a few daughters in the Zhaoran tribe for some time. A few days later, He Lin seemed to have gotten the news and appeared. Mo Lin's strength has risen very quickly, and it has risen to another level, and it is almost at the late stage of Washan. But the image is still a little lowly. Upon seeing her, Li Su couldn't hold back anymore. Just hold her. It took several days before He Lin returned to closed-door training with a blushing face. This deity Loli still rarely speaks in front of Li Su, but she has already accepted Li Su completely. Knowing that Li Su is very obsessed with her body, even in closed-door training, she deliberately came out and let Li Su. Grandpa, the sea clans of the 4 seas are their own borders. In order to avoid conflicts, they generally seldom interact with each other. Tens of thousands of years ago, the sea clans of the 4 seas had gatherings every few years, and there were some agreements. However, after the decline of the North Sea, it withered for a while, and has not received any invitations. Although the North Sea has risen again in these years, it is still too different from the other 3 seas, and we have no intention of contacting them. In the field of the Zhao people, Mo Qi's voice sounded. Li Su is asking him about the situation of other sea people. Li Su always felt that there was something strange about the battle between the North Sea and the North Territory. Maybe it was caused by other sea tribes in the 4 seas. Ghost. Of course, there is no evidence at present, so Li Su can only guess wildly. After staying in Beihai for several months, Li Su returned to the northern border. Then, he went to Shuiyumen, where Mengmeng and the others grew up very quickly. Mengmeng and Tongtong, the daughters of the 2 third-rank spiritual roots, are already Gold Core. The 3rd-rank spiritual roots is faster, and the Gold Core of more than 100 years old is still okay. After Li Su stayed at Shuiyumen for a few more months, he returned to Jifu. As for Li Su's other descendants, the number of foundation establishments has also increased, including the medicine pill refined by Li Su, and the lifespan of his descendants is generally much longer than others. Also have more time to practice. The reason why foundation establishment is hopeless for some cultivators with poor qualifications is that they have poor qualifications and cannot get good resources at all, and the second is that their lifespan is not enough. Now, Li Su is the uncrowned king of the northern border, and his descendants don't have to worry about resources below Washan. If any descendant can reach Washan, they should not have to worry about resources by then. The area of a Li Mansion in Mangtang Mountain is getting bigger and bigger. All kinds of exquisite buildings are connected into pieces. Among Li Su's concubines, like Luo Yuxin, a genius of 3rd-rank spiritual roots, and the nuns that Li Su abducted from Xuanshan Academy, live in places where spiritual qi is the strongest. Each concubine has a separate large yard with a garden inside. If they want closed-door training, there is also the immortal cave of closed-door training, and there are some restrictions. Everywhere Li Su goes, he can see whether they are in closed-door training or have already left customs. Luo Yuxin has already given birth to 5 babies for Li Su, but it may be due to physical problems. Among the babies she gave birth to Li Su, the one with the highest spiritual roots is still a 4th-rank spiritual roots. Li Su is not in a hurry, let her rush to Washan first. After spending a few years comfortably in the Li Mansion, the energy of 1000 Shattering Void is already full. Li Su can break through refining void at any time. But he naturally won't break through now, he wants to accumulate the maximum value. On this day, Yu Yu finally came back. Li Su saw that the current Yu Yue had already reached the consummation of God transformation. Really. Her speed to consummate transformation is not much slower than Li Su's. This is also normal. With the help of Li Su, Yu is now equivalent to a different kind of cheating. There is a heavenly devil who is at the same level as a celestial being, and she is being plucked by her. She's a devil cultivator again. It's hard to justify being unhappy. It's just that if Yue wants to break through to refine the void, it's dangerous. This time, I don't know how terrible it will be. These, of course, will be discussed later. We haven't seen each other for so many years, but as soon as we met, Li Su picked Yu up. Yu blushed, but she let Li Su do whatever she wanted. Heavenly Devil attaches great importance to me now. I have gained a little Heavenly Devil's aura, which is helpful for breakthrough and refinement, but Lei Jia can only fight hard. It took several days before Yu got time to talk to Li Su. It will take time for her to attack the void, and if she is unlucky, she may not be able to break through the void. Even in the process, if the mentality is unstable, it may be invaded by Heart's demon. That is to say, there are still two big hurdles for Yue to break through refining the void. These two hurdles, to some extent, are a matter of life and death. Especially the latter one. If there is no Li Su, Yue will not have more than 1,000 years, or even thousands of years of preparations, so she would not dare to try. Li Su patted her little head. You just go for the attack, and Lei Jia will leave it to me. Yue gave a soft hum. She already had great trust in Li Su, and she could entrust her life and death to Li Su with confidence. Okay. Stop talking, turn around. Li Su started again. Half a month later, Yue started closed-door training on Mangkang Mountain, and she was going to attack Lianshu. Li Su continued to live a comfortable life. He didn't spend too much time to comprehend the world and the like. It would take a lot of time, so it's better to work hard. However, Li Su is constantly studying other methods. In this way, more than 10 years later, in the year when Li Su's 100-year agreement with several masters is about to expire, Li Su finally accumulated enough shattering void energy. Just today. In half a month, it will be Li Su's 385th birthday, so it's a good time to choose a breakthrough. Because it takes more than half a month to absorb these shattering void energies. On the day of his birthday, Li Su made a breakthrough in one fell swoop. Therefore, Li Su chose breakthrough. With his choice, the shattering void energy began to continuously enter Li Su's body, and was continuously absorbed by Li Su Yuan. A few days later, the bottleneck was broken through by the shattering void energy, and immediately after, Li Su's aura began to change. In the high sky of Mangkang Mountain, not only Li Su's aura has changed. The surrounding world has also undergone obvious changes. After the shattering void energy entered Li Su's body, the experience of the shattering void has been continuously passed on to Li Su, so that Li Su is also equivalent to breaking through the shattering void. At the same time, it also caused changes in the world. Li Su is located on a high place. The world in his eyes has already changed. The world in the eyes of different people is naturally different. If it is a secular old farmer who works at sunrise and rests at sunset, the world in his eyes is the few acres of Susukida he owns, as well as his wife and children. If he is the emperor of a secular country, the world in his eyes is his own country. The world in the eyes of immortal cultivators is different. But before nascent soul, immortal cultivators had no contact with the rules of heaven and earth, seeing that the sky and earth were always superficial. Now, it seems that the secrets of heaven and earth have been opened in front of Li Su. He can see the flow of vitality, the interweaving of various forces of heaven and earth in the void, and the operation of the laws of heaven and earth. In his eyes, the whole world becomes more and more clear. His breath is still continuously changing. He chose the location of breakthrough Lianshu, not in the Li Mansion. According to the requirements of the system, this time the breakthrough refinement needs to be in an open location in order to have the best effect. Therefore, the Li Mansion is now located in the north of Mangkang Mountain, where the sun is high in the sky. Li Su has closed his eyes. He does not need to see through his own eyes, but to feel through his soul. His primordial spirit, after the injection of shattering void energy, also became stronger and stronger. At the same time, Li Su also experienced a clearer diva induction or diva sympathy. I see. A few days later, Li Su somewhat understood why the primordial spirit didn't change substantially from transforming the spirit to refining the void, but so much shattering void energy was needed. Although there are only more than 2,000 points, this is Li Su's cultivation base that took more than 30,000 years. Logically speaking, the breakthrough of Zijin Yuanshan should be easier than others, and the required cultivation base should be less. This point is different from before refining the void. Previously, Li Su wanted to build the top gold core, nascent soul, and Yuanshan. In addition, the spiritual roots are average, so the cultivation base consumed is much more than others. However, when transforming God completes the breakthrough and refines the void, except for the immortal spiritual roots, the other spiritual roots have little effect on the difficulty of the breakthrough. What spiritual roots affects is that before the consummation of the gods, the spiritual roots are not good enough, and many people can't reach the consummation of the gods at all. After completing the transformation, the cultivation base itself can no longer be entered. Next is Diva's sympathy. Whether he can break through or not has more to do with his comprehension. Therefore, it should be the easiest for Zijin Yuanshan to break through and refine the void in the transformation of the gods. Here it only refers to the breakthrough. The cultivation speed after the breakthrough is refined, and the spiritual roots are still the decisive factor. If the bottleneck factor is not taken into consideration, Li Su's breakthrough will be easier than spiritual roots. In fact, if Li Su breaks through by himself, as long as the bottleneck is broken, it won't take too long. But it still takes so much shattering void energy. The reason for this is simple. In his primordial spirit, a very novel thing appeared. Tianxin. Li Su whispered. That's right, in his primordial spirit, a heavenly heart appeared. This is not the heart. From a visual point of view, there is a light spot emitting a faint light at the heart of his Zijin Yuanshan. At present, this Tianxin is still very weak, but as the energy of the shattering void continues to enter, this light spot is getting stronger and stronger. The role of this heavenly heart is to enable Li Su to better communicate with Diva, so that he can better use the power of heaven and earth and drive the rules of heaven and earth. Tianxin. Generally, after refining the virtual middle stage, the refining virtual cultivator gathers the power of heaven and earth before it can be condensed in the primordial spirit, thereby increasing one's use of the power of heaven and earth. But Li Su unexpectedly appeared in his body when he just broke through the void. Moreover, Tianxin looks very powerful this day. The color is also changing from white to golden. After some time, the color of Tianxin has turned into gold. The size also changed from a small light spot to a small light cluster. And some lavender is starting to appear in it. It seems that another purple-gold Tianxin rhythm is about to come. Just after breaking through the emptiness, there is a Tianxin, which is still a purple-gold Tianxin. Li Su immediately felt that so many shattering void emperors are worth it. Although the shattering void has a lot of energy, the actual time it takes is not very long. It has only taken him 25 years from becoming a god to consummation. Compared with other cultivators, this speed is many times faster. Therefore, Li Su is naturally extremely satisfied with this Tianxin. So, after his breakthrough, he will still be extremely strong. With this Tianxin, at least in terms of the use of the power of heaven and earth, Li Su will not be much behind the veteran Lianshu. Tianxin also brought a benefit. That is to greatly promote the formation of Li Su. Many formations themselves also need to borrow mountains and rivers, which is also equivalent to borrowing the power of heaven and earth. With Tianxin, Li Su is bound to be even more powerful in formation. In addition, with Tianxin, Li Su is on the refining tool, and he can also try to touch the Tao item. There is a rigid requirement for the creation of Tao item. That is, the craftsman must be a craftsman himself in order to create it. It is best to have a virtual refiner with Tianxin, the success rate is high. A craftsman who refines virtual weapons, not just cultivation base. The refiner's refinement attainments must also be exceptionally high, which requires many, many years of practice. Together with the refining tool, talent and understanding are required. Refining equipment talent is good, but spiritual roots may not be good. Spiritual roots is good, but refining talent may not be good. Even if spiritual roots and refining talent are good, this person may not be willing to learn refining. Cultivation is actually a very happy and addictive thing. But refining, unless you really love it, it is not as addictive as cultivation. Refining equipment is relatively boring. There are still very few people who are willing to learn, especially for geniuses. It takes too much time to learn how to refine weapons. Isn't it good to spend this time on cultivation? Therefore, there are very few refiners who can create Dao items. From the beginning to the present, Guiyuanzong has never produced this kind of craftsman. In some sacred land, there are not necessarily any. Li Su's breakthrough is refining emptiness, and he has Tianxin again, so he can try it out. However, he has never been in touch with Dao item, so it is still very difficult to create it. For now, I don't think so. Dao item is created, and currently used, it is no better than a treasure. It is the most important thing to take advantage of it. It can be properly exceeded, but it is not good to exceed too much. Maybe he sent out a blow and drained his whole body strength, and the power may not necessarily have a great cause. And as Tianxin continued to take shape, and Li Su's aura continued to change. In the sky, light hangs down again. This glow is very interesting. It looks like a continuous piece, but if you zoom in, these glows seem to be composed of countless colorful flower petals. Extraordinarily beautiful. Look, why are there so many rays of light in the sky? You can even see them at night. I don't know, is it some immortal who is doing the trick? I remember that when Li Shanren became a Millennium Immortal, there was also a glow in the sky over Luocheng. Could it be Li Shanren who made it again? The range of Xiaguang is too wide. Even though Li Su is in Mangkang Mountain, everyone in Kela City has already seen it. Some ordinary people were shocked, and many people speculated there. The range of this glow is so large, which senior wants to break through a large realm? The cultivators within the Xiaguang range were also startled one by one. For these cultivators, the source of the glow has not yet been found. As for the fluctuation caused by Li Su's breakthrough, ordinary cultivators are not qualified to perceive it at all. This glow. At this time, a stream of light was rushing towards the Xiaguang area from afar. This is a powerful cultivator who comes from Guiyuanzong. During this time, he has been cleaning up some powerful demonic beasts between the Middle States and the North. After receiving the summons from Su Chungnei, a disciple of Guiyuanzong, he came to check the situation. As soon as he arrived here, the Washan was a little startled. The range of this glow, due to this kind of glow usually appears once when breaking through nascent soul. Because the nascent soul cultivator has initially come into contact with the rules of heaven and earth, it is equivalent to motivating the heaven and earth with itself, and only then does Xiaguang appear. When breaking through into a god, there will be no severe evil. Compared with nascent soul, Washan mainly has its own changes. It has further control over the rules of heaven and earth, and can use more, but there is not much qualitative change. And when Washan breakthrough refines void, Xiaguang will appear again. But in general refining, the range of the glow will not be so large, and the color of the glow will not be so gorgeous. The range of the glow caused by Li Su is really too big. This is the real glow. It doesn't mean that it can be seen or sensed thousands of miles away, but that Xiaguang really covers tens of thousands of miles. In fact, far more than 10,000 miles. Not only that, the glow of Li Su is colorful and gorgeous, not to mention how beautiful it is. If you listen carefully, there seems to be a beautiful melody in this glow, like the sound of heaven and earth. When some mortals see it, they can't help but feel refreshed and happy. Their negative emotions are swept away, and their fatigue can even be relieved to a certain extent. This surprised Guiyuanzong's Washan a little bit. It is impossible for such a glow to be caused by someone breaking through nascent soul. Not nascent soul, it shouldn't be Washan, isn't it? Alchemy. When the Washan thought of this, he was shocked again. In the entire Kanglan realm, the number of Lianshu can be counted with fingers. In the past few thousand years, no new refinement has been born. Now, has a new refinement been born? Immediately, a new problem arose. This Lianshu. Who is it? Could it be Li Su? Li Su's name popped up in the mind of this Washan. In the northern border, and at Wangshenjiao again, it seems that Li is the only one left. Impossible. A subterranean cultivator suddenly popped up here, right? But the problem is, Li Su has only become Washan for more than 100 years. 100-year-old foundation establishment, 150-year-old gold core, 209-year-old nascent soul, 151-year-old Washan. He remembers Li Su's growth path clearly. Now, Li Su is only over 300 years old. If he remembers correctly, he should be 378 years old. It's only 130 in 2010. Is Li Su actually going to achieve the alchemy? He felt a little unbelievable. However, he quickly sent out a message, which was a message to Peak Master Dian, telling her that someone might be breaking through the void. Then, he flew towards the direction from which the wave came. With his speed, he flew over the Mangkang mountain very quickly. Then, I saw Li Su in the sky. It's really him. This Washan was taken aback. Immediately, he noticed something, and when he looked back, he saw that a stream of light had rushed towards him in the distance. The streamer approached quickly, and finally stopped not far away. Peak Lord. This Washan discovered that Lu Guang was the master of Dian Peak. No, to be precise, it is the primordial spirit of Peak Lord Dian. Peak Lord Dian didn't care about him, but looked at Li Su with beautiful eyes. Her primordial spirit is naturally exactly the same as hers. After seeing Li Su, Peak Lord Dian's beautiful eyes also showed a deep look of surprise. The reason why she came so quickly today was not because she was in Zhongzhou, so she came to see it with her soul. That distance is too far. Even if it is refining the void, it will not take the risk of letting the primordial spirit be so far away from the body. But this year is the last year of the 100-year agreement, and the day after tomorrow is Jesus' birthday. Therefore, Peak Master Dian took this opportunity to come here specially. Really. Not long after, a flying boat appeared in the sky. After the flying boat approached, the primordial spirit of Peak Master Dian returned to his position. In front of the flying boat, there are several female cultivators. Among them is Gui Yuanzong's first-rank spiritual roots disciple Tian Tian. Tian Tian was already startled by the glow of the sky. After seeing Li Su, more surprise appeared in her eyes. Li Su was actually attacking the alchemy. And, looking at it this way, more than half of the success has been achieved. Sky. How many years have passed? After these years, Tian Tian has not yet reached the age of 600, and her strength has reached the late stage of Washan. She still has the hope that in the remaining 400 years, she will rush to refine Shu and achieve the achievement of thousands of years of refining Shu. But Li Su is actually in Changlian Shu, alchemy, who is over 300 years old. This is unheard of. If it doesn't scare her. It's not just her. Peak Lord Dian, the peak of the void refinement, is already full of shock in his beautiful eyes. At this moment, in the distance, two streamers of light rushed over. Master Dian took a look. It was the head of Xuanshan Academy and Tinluo sect leader. These two are also primordial spirits. It seems that their plan is the same. I want to take advantage of Li Su's birthday to come over and win Li Su over. Although the head of Xuanshan Academy has no hope of pulling Li Su in, he still wants to show the 10 Wu'd Jiakong. Li Su is going to refine Shu now. Tinluo sect leader was a little dumbfounded. It made him, the leader of the late stage of refining virtual, feel dumbfounded, which is enough to explain how shocked he was. No matter how strong he is, it seems that Li Su is now on the verge of refining. If he is not surprised, the head of Xuanshan Academy may have come too hastily. Yuan Shendu didn't bring a fan. Even if he had one, he would forget it. Li Su's breakthrough this time really surprised them all. After a while, when the head of Xuanshan Academy and the primordial spirit of Tinluo sect leader returned to their positions, the Wanshu sect leader also came with a 5-element spirit dragon. As soon as she arrived, the beautiful eyes of this pink and pink girl also widened. For the next time, none of them spoke. Everyone stood there with color on their faces. Time passed bit by bit. Night fell. Several people are still here. The sun rises again, and the fluctuation caused by Li Su is getting bigger and bigger. After another day, finally, it was around noon that day. Li Su let out a long howl and stood up. All the strength on his body was absorbed. In the sky, the rays of light all over the sky shook and disappeared. A powerful aura spread out in this area. In a short period of time, The world around Li Su seemed to be engraved with Li Su's name. Li Su successfully broke through Lianshu. It took a total of 14 days to absorb the shattering void energy. The whole process was extremely smooth. It can be said to be a matter of course. He succeeded. The master of Xuanshan Academy took a deep breath, and the astonishment in his eyes could not be concealed. In the sky, there are not only the masters of Xuanshan Academy. In the expressions of Tinluo sect leader and Daiyan Peak master, the astonishment can't be concealed at all. Li Su, it worked. Successfully moved from Washan to Lianshu. Although Washan is in the Kanglan realm, it is also a power that can get on the table. But how could the status be compared with that of Lianshu? Lianshu is the tyrannical existence that can control the situation of the entire Kanglan realm. Even in some areas that are more prosperous than the Kanglan realm, such as the Sacred Land, the status of Lianshu is not low. Not to mention, Li Su's refining spirit is even more genius than Sacred Lands. Less than 400 years of refinement. According to the Tinluo sect leader's speculation about Li Su might be able to become a smelter before the age of 500. The 500-year-old Lianshu is already 10 steps ahead of Sacred Land. However, Li Su is even more astonishing than Tinluo sect leader thought. His refining is less than 400 years old. The exact number is 38 years old. It is still 15 years away from 400 years old. That's great. And judging from Li Su's ability to suppress the ordinary early stage of refining the virtual at the peak of the transformation of the gods, Li Su's primordial spirit may also be extremely powerful. The refinement of achievements is definitely not weak. Compared with those Lianshu who can only achieve it with a lifetime of effort, I don't know how much stronger it is. All kinds. Naturally, these three old-fashioned Lianshu and even the expression management were somewhat ineffective. Even they are like this, let alone the sect leader of Wanshuzong and Tian's children. 3 seniors, wait for Li to survive the thunder disaster, and then invite the 3 into Li's mansion for a talk. At this time, Li Su's voice sounded. The thunder tribulation of breakthrough refining void is coming. With one step forward, Li Su has already arrived at the place where he prepared the formation. With a slight lift of the hand, the surrounding formations are quickly activated. These formations are arranged by him, and Li Su can control them as he likes without needing a formation board. The function of these formations is very simple, that is to collect scattered thunder. Li Su still had to continue refining the Purple Night Thunder. This kind of divine thunder can be used at critical times and can be of great use. Just like when Li Su was in Mangkang Mountain, he used the Zishao God Thunder to kill the primordial spirit who refined Sun Dong. Otherwise, with the speed of refining Shu Yuanshan, even if Li Su activates the formation, it will be difficult to stop him from escaping. When the formation rose, Lianshu Yuanshan didn't know how far he ran. This time, Li Su did not suppress his breath and delay the arrival of Lei Jia for a day or two, but directly released his breath, attracting Jia Yun. Thick robbery clouds soon filled the sky, and thunderbolts as thick as buckets kept falling. This thunder tribulation was stronger than other people's thunder tribulation, but to Li Su, it was nothing. The difference from before is that this time when Li Su defeated Jia Lei, he deliberately left some behind. Then he saw that strands of thunderstorms that were not completely defeated fell on Li Su's body. He is using the tribulation thunder to temper his own body. This is what some body cultivators like to do. Over the years, Li Su has added a lot of experience to the body cultivator cultivation base. Now, his body cultivator cultivation base is equivalent to the body cultivator of Washan late stage. The body is also hard. The further back the body cultivator cultivation base, the lower the proportion of experience added, so after Li Su was added to the Washan late stage, it stopped. He was going to wait for the bloodline to rise again before continuing to add more. From time to time, Li Su would still take 1 or 2 concubines among the Sea tribe in Beihai, and he could also give birth to some offspring of the Sea tribe, strengthening his own bloodline. But the number will not be as many as human offspring. In addition, after Li Su's strength becomes stronger, he can also bring some enhancement to the bloodline, but this enhancement is only incidental, not too big. It is also better than nothing. Is he using tribulation thunder to refine his body? Although Li Su's surroundings were covered by the light from the thunder, Jisoo couldn't see clearly at all. But the three refiners still saw the clues. Li Su didn't completely defeat Jia Lei. Instead, let a small part of the tribulation thunder fall on On. That small part, in the eyes of the three Lianshu, is not low. Immortal cultivators rely on magic treasures, spells, etc. to fight, although their physical strength is many times higher than that of ordinary people. Like the body of a cultivator in the void refining stage, without any protection, not even the body protection essence, if a cultivator below the gold core late stage is bombarded with spells, nothing will happen. Of course, if it's too strong, such as nascent soul, that won't work either. This is just an assumption. In fact, even if the cultivator in the void refinement stage is normal, his body will always have the body's protective essence all the time, so casual attacks cannot get close to him at all. If a cultivator who is not strong touches a cultivator rashly, and is rebounded by the body's true essence, he will be delaminated and wrinkled even if he is not dead. In short, the body is still the weakness of the cultivators. Like this tribulation thunder, if you don't take any protection and let it fall on your body, even a cultivator won't be able to withstand it. But Li Su is actually doing this. Li Su's body is probably not as strong as usual. Tinluo sect leader said. Not far away, the beast sect leader subconsciously nodded in agreement. In the Battle of Mangkang Mountain decades ago, Li Su's dual cultivation demonstrated his formidable combat power, which also allowed them to see Li Su's strength. Pill refining formation. Li Su's attainments are not low, now even his body is so strong, with so many proficiency. Li Su can still reach the refining void before the age of 400. Why is he so monstrous? The head of Xuanshan Academy murmured. His words made Tinluo sect leader beside him fall into thinking. Peak Lord Daiyun's beautiful eyes looked at Li Su, who was defeating a series of thunder calamities, and he was also thinking about this question. No way. Li Su is really too evil. This is something that fairy spiritual roots can hardly do. The head of Xuanshan Academy hasn't said anything yet. That is, Li Su has taken too many concubines, and offspring are constantly being born. Every year, Li Su owns a lot of children. Although he didn't say it, Peak Lord Daiyun could think of it. Think about it, under such circumstances, Li Su could actually reach the point of refining the void in less than 400 years. Simultaneously, Li Su is also good at so many things. This is simply unscientific. No matter how evil you are, you can't violate common sense, right? This is a basic truth. As the first-rank spiritual roots, Peak Lord Daiyun is already a top genius in this world. There are only a few different spiritual roots who can be stronger than her. She herself is also a monster in the eyes of ordinary immortals. So, Peak Master Daiyun couldn't help thinking, why is Li Su so powerful? It would be fine if it was a crooked way, but Li Su is not. If it's Devil Cultivator, it's easy to explain, but it's not the return season. Evil cultivators such as Babu, our Devil Cultivator, face different thunder tribulations. If Li Su were a Devil Cultivator, not only would the power of the thunder tribulation be many times greater, she would also be able to see the obvious difference. Just because Li Su walked the right path, this matter seemed even more unbelievable. The cultivators in the northern border, including the possibilities that the cultivators in Zhongzhou have imagined, don't make much sense. Looking at it this way, Li Su may be a fairy spiritual roots or a holy spiritual roots. His physique is also a heavenly Dao body or a Qichao Linglong body. His understanding is horribly higher than talent. He may even have a fairy bone on his body. The voice of the head of Xuanshan Academy sounded again. Fairy spiritual roots or holy spiritual roots, this has already been guessed by many people. The difference between these two kinds of spiritual roots is that the fairy spiritual roots diva didn't have any bottleneck before the 5 declines, while the holy spiritual roots were unusually overbearing. During the Qi refining period, they can make a cultivator absorb spiritual Qi at a speed comparable to foundation establishment. The cultivation speed is even faster than the immortal spiritual roots, but there is also a bottleneck problem. Spiritual roots alone can no longer explain Li Su's monstrosity. Therefore, the head of Xuanshan Academy felt that Li Su probably also had a top-notch physique. For example, the first heavenly Dao body, or the legendary Seven Curtains exquisite body that is even more evil than the first heavenly Tao body. A person with a 7-aperture exquisite body has top talents and top savvy. If he is paired with a good spiritual roots, he will not be an ordinary evildoer. The head of Xuanshan Academy also mentioned a word, that is, immortal bone. Its location is in the chest area. No one has ever seen what it looks like, but according to the rumors, if there is a fairy bone, it is almost a sure thing to become a fairy or a god. This term is a bit unfamiliar to Tinluo sect leader. He didn't even think about it. I think, could he be the reincarnation of a fairy? Tinluo sect leader said suddenly. His words made the head of Xuanshan Academy's eyes light up. Immortal reincarnation. This guess is even more astonishing than his guess. Impossible. If the immortal is reincarnated, how can the Immortal Alliance be unaware? Peak Lord Daiyun's voice suddenly sounded. You too, there are some words that need to be cautious. Immediately afterwards, the voice of Peak Lord Daiyun sounded again. However, only 3 people can hear the latter sentence. Peak Lord is right. I was really hit too hard, and I couldn't hold back my words. The head of Xuanshan Academy immediately understood what Peak Master Daiyun meant, and hurriedly said. Li Su is so evil, if some of the possibilities he guessed here spread out. For example, the reincarnation of immortals. That might attract some mighty devil cultivators to covet. Li Su's enemies might also find ways to kill them in advance. What about fairy reincarnation? Not a real fairy. If it does not grow up, it will be killed if it is killed. Tinluo sect leader also nodded, and said, that's right, the rise of Li Su is our blessing. No matter what Li Su chooses, if a strong enemy comes, we will not just sit back and watch. Peak Lord Daiyun didn't speak anymore. However, the words of the head of Xuanshan Academy reminded her of it. Li Su is such an unreasonable evildoer, could he really be the reincarnation of a fairy? Although, this kind of thing has never happened in the Kanglan world. She has only heard of it in Xianmeng. As for why the immortal was so powerful and reincarnated, even Peak Master Daiyun couldn't figure it out, and he couldn't figure it out either. Every immortal cultivator wants to become an immortal at the beginning, but only after they really embark on the road of cultivation, will they understand how far away immortals are from them. For a while, no one spoke. The 3 refiners are all doing all kinds of amazing brain supplements here. Their views and evaluations of Li Su, as well as their attitudes towards Li Su, will also change significantly as a result. Finally, the thunder disaster was over, and Li Su quickly refined Zishao Shenshao. After putting away all the things, Li Su clapped his hands, and his appearance returned to tidy and clean. He took a step forward and came in front of Dai Yun and the others. Seniors, please, in the Li residence, there was already a burst of joy. There are already a lot of people celebrating Li Su's birthday. Although this time is only Li Su's 385th birthday, it is not an integer. However, because Li Su's breakthrough this time attracted a large number of cultivators, these cultivators were shocked, and they all came to celebrate Li Su's birthday one after another. The Li Mansion in Mangkang Mountain itself is also divided into 2 parts. One is the outside area, which is used for hospitality and for some descendants of the spiritual roots of the Ji family to live. One is the inner area, where only Li Su and Li Su's concubines are there. The guests are naturally in the outside area. On a mountain specially used to receive distinguished guests, there is a large area of antique buildings. Li Su, congratulations on your breakthrough. From now on, we will be on the same path. The voice of Master Lu of Xuanshan Academy sounded. Several sect leaders congratulated Su one after another. The shock in their eyes has been controlled. However, Tian and another female cultivator behind Daiyun Peak Master were still secretly looking at Li Su, and the surprise and astonishment in their eyes still did not dissipate. Several heads, the 100-year agreement has come. I know that several heads want to recruit me into the sect, but Li Su has a better plan. Some heads may wish to take a look. How about it? After several heads expressed their congratulations, Li Su spoke. This time, he got straight to the point, and didn't wait for the masters to speak. The crisp and clear way of speaking makes the communication more efficient.
While Li Su was talking, he also took out a few jade slips and handed them to the 4 heads.
The four heads took over one after another and read the contents of Jade Slip. This method is very good. In fact, Li Su, you are such a monster. You went straight to my Xuanshan Academy, and Lu felt that you were a bit delayed. The head of Xuanshan Academy was the first to speak. His address to Li Su has also changed. It used to be Xiaoyu, and now he calls him by his first name. But the title now shows that he really put Li Su on the same level. Xiaoyu, with the posture of a senior, condescendingly expresses the meaning of friendship. Li Su, I always wanted to recruit you into the sect, but now it seems that my Tian Luozong is indeed too small. I agree with your plan. Tinluo sect leader is also very refreshing. I agree too. Wanshu sect leader's crisp way. Li Su looked at Peak Master Daiyan. Several other people looked at Peak Master Daiyan. Now, the other three people's second-rank immortal sects have been settled, so they only need to return to Yuanzong. Peak Master Daiyan wanted to pull Li Su into Gaiyuanzong with all his heart. Li Su's plan is actually very simple. With his current strength and means, he has no plans to join any fairy sect and work hard for other fairy sects. Therefore, the solution proposed by Li Su is to establish a cooperative relationship. Li Su is very powerful regardless of the alchemy array, but the northern border currently lacks a lot of resources. He can refine top-grade treasures for several masters, or exchange some resources for advanced medicine pills. Source. In the future, there may be some better ways of cooperation, such as a secret realm with powerful restrictions, and Li Su is also willing to help. The three second-rank immortal sects are naturally no problem. After Li Su became the alchemist, or such a monstrous alchemist, the three second-rank immortal sects themselves knew that their immortal sects could not accommodate Ji Su. The key is to return to Yuanzong. Li Su, if you want, you can take the position of an elder in Gaiyuanzong, and you can enjoy the treatment of an elder, but you don't need to pay anything extra. Believe me, at this stage. Duan, it will do you good. If you want, I can make the decision and marry Tian Tian to you. She is the first-rank spiritual roots and likes you too. Under the gazes of several people, finally, Peak Lord Daiyan spoke. She still didn't give up on wooing, but Peak Master Daiyan also made a compromise. She also saw that Li Su didn't like being restrained, so she just asked Ji Su to take a position. Peak Lord Daiyan was indeed thinking about Li Su, because after Li Su's breakthrough this time, a 400-year-old refiner is bound to cause a sensation. It was only a matter of time before Li Su's name spread out in the Kanglin realm. If Li Su is still a loner, it will easily attract covets. Of course, there must be some sweat in selfishness. This is quite normal. Peak Lord Daiyan still wanted to pull Li Su into Gaiyuanzong, but at the same time, she was also worried that someone would poach a corner. What she didn't know was that someone had already arrived. Therefore, after seeking Tian Tian's opinion, she brought Tian Tian here, and wanted to use a first-rank spiritual roots to tie Li Su to the chariot, which was also a big expense. Originally, her plan didn't allow so many steps, but after Li Su's breakthrough, she made adjustments. Master Daiyan's plan to win over Li Su has been changing all the time. At the beginning, she was confident. After all, Gui Yuanzong was the first-rank immortal sect. Even if Tinluo sect leader used Yi Luzi, Peak Lord Daiyan was not too worried. But as Li Su continued to grow, and continued to show his powerful side, especially after the battle in Mangkang Mountain, the confidence of Daiyan Peak Lord was not so sure. Later, Li Su refined a top-grade treasure for her, showing his astonishing accomplishments in refining. Peak Lord Daiyan's confidence is even more lacking. As the only first-rank fairy sect in the Kanglin realm, Dai Yunfeng actually didn't want to use Yi Luzi. However, as time went by, her confidence became less and less. Later, Master Daiyan discovered that some talented female cultivators in the sect had a very good impression of Li Su. The last time when Li Su went to Gui Yuanzong to refine the best treasures for her, even Tian Tian, a genius of first-rank spiritual roots, did not appear outside the refining room several times. Therefore, Peak Master Daiyan asked Tian Tian for his opinion first. When Tian Tian blushed and couldn't speak, but she didn't refuse, and finally acquiesced to the arrangement of Peak Master Daiyan, then Peak Master Daiyan came up with the current wooing plan. If Tian Tian clearly refused, she would naturally not have such a plan. Her plan at the beginning was to invite Li Su to join the sect. After the head of Guiyuanzong left the customs, she could let the head of Guiyuanzong accept Li Su as a personal disciple, and marry Tian Tian to Li Su at the same time. Doesn't Li Su like taking concubines, having babies, and having more outstanding offspring? A genius of the first-rank spiritual roots has developed some feelings for Li Su. In the view of Dai Yunfeng, Li Su should not refuse. Just that. This time, seeing Li Su being so monstrous, he actually broke through. Also exhibits a powerful body cultivator cultivation base. Let Peak Master Daiyan have a good meal. Peak Master Daiyan felt that the previous plan might not be very attractive to Li Su, and Li Su might not agree to it. Therefore, Lord Dai Yunfeng adjusted the plan. Let Li Su get involved with Gui Yuanzong first. Li Su doesn't need to pay anything. Li Su's freedom is not restricted, and he can still enjoy the treatment of elder. In addition, Li Su can also marry a genius of first-rank spiritual roots. This is indeed beneficial to Li Su, and it can be said that both parties are beneficial. What Master Dai Yunfeng sees as Li Su's future value. If Li Su is really the reincarnation of an immortal, Gui Yuanzong is willing to gather the strength of the whole sect to protect Li Su. Not to mention returning to Yuanzong, after Sacred Land confirmed the reincarnation of the immortal, he was willing to go all out. Even if it wasn't the reincarnation of a fairy, with Li Su's evildoer, it's a certainty that he will grow up. Judging from the fact that Li Su is very kind to his concubines, even mortal concubines, Li Su is also a kind and righteous person. For one's own people, there is affection and righteousness, and for the enemy, it will give a thunderous blow. This point also made Peak Lord Daiyan quite appreciate. For Gui Yuanzong, first form a good relationship, and then Li Sujun grows up. With this good relationship, maybe one day the fate of Gui Yuanzong will be changed. In the future, according to the situation, we can further win over. For Li Su, the current Guiyuanzong is still a towering tree that can keep out the rain. Peak Master Daiyan never thought about killing a genius if she couldn't win over her. After all, there was no conflict between the two sides, and Li Su even refined a top-grade treasure for her. There may be some fairy sects who will do this, but unless the opponent is hostile from the very beginning, Peak Master Daiyan will not think in this direction, and he will not even think about it. Many immortal cultivators have their own ethics. Dao heart is firm. Even if they are a little indifferent to other immortal cultivators, they are often more reliable than those enthusiastic guys. Like the cultivator named Bai on Xianju Mountain back then, he was so enthusiastic about rogue cultivators, but what happened? The rogue cultivators who followed him were all cheated. Therefore, Peak Master Daiyan came up with this plan. After she finished speaking, her eyes fell on Jisu's face. Beside her, Tian Tian's pretty face was already blushing. She lowered her head, not daring to look at Li Su anymore. That shy look is very pleasant. Not far away, the sect leader of Wanshuzong looked at Tian Tian for a while, and Li Su for a while, and he didn't know what he was thinking. Li Su's eyes flicked over Tian Tian's body, and then looked at Peak Master Daiyan. Peak Master, is Tian Tian willing? Li Su asked. Dai Yunfeng said, she is willing. Li Su looked at Tian Tian again. Tian Tian, are you willing? Tian Tian's face turned even redder, and she didn't dare to look at Li Su at all. After a long while, she nodded slightly. Li Su then withdrew his gaze and looked at Peak Master Daiyan. Peak Lord's plan is fine. After Tian Tian marries me, she can continue to practice in Guiyuanzong. In addition, Peak Master's cultivation base has not changed over the years. Have you encountered a bottleneck? Li Su asked. Peak Lord Daiyan was a little happy when he heard Li Su's words, because Li Su agreed to her plan. As for Li Su's subsequent question, Master Daiyan did not deny it. Yes, Li Su, this bottleneck has stuck me for thousands of years, and I have never been able to break through. After finishing speaking, Peak Master Daiyan sighed. Li Su pondered for a while, and took out a medicine pill. Peak Lord, try it after you go back to see if it works. If there is any effect, Peak Master will come to me again. Li Su said. This medicine pill is newly created by Li Su after studying his own bottleneck. He is not so sure that this medicine pill will be useful to Dai Yunfang. But if it's useful, then it's easy to handle. Li Su can study the bottleneck of Lord Daiyan, and also use Gui Yuanzong's spiritual herbs to test it. If the medicine pill he refined can solve the bottleneck of peak Master Daiyan, then Li Su will not have to worry about the training resources of his own women and excellent descendants in the future. Such a medicine pill is so precious. How many cultivators will rush for it? The demand for cultivation resources will increase in the future, because Li Su's outstanding descendants are constantly growing. Li Su's women are becoming more and more excellent, and their strength is becoming stronger and stronger. Therefore, Li Su has to make some preparations earlier. Oh? Peak Lord Daiyan became interested. She took the medicine pill and was going to try closed-door training after going back. If it was an ordinary pill refiner, she wouldn't believe it, but it was refined by Ji Su. Although Li Su's pill refining attainments, she has not seen it yet, but only heard about it from some cultivators in the north. But Li Su's various mysteries have already made Master Daiyan subconsciously no longer doubt Li Su, but have expectations. After Dai Yunfang put away the medicine pill, he began to discuss some specific details with Li Su. She actually wanted to ask Li Su for the title of legal wife for Tian Tian, a genius of first-rank spiritual roots. However, after opening his mouth a few times, every time he thought of the astonishing idea of the head of Xuanshan Academy, Peak Master Daiyan couldn't open his mouth. Li Su accepted so many concubines, even the Hua Shendu of the High Clan, who was the queen of the High Clan with royal blood. The other is a very good Jiaoren. No need to think about it, their bloodlines must be amazing, no worse than first-rank spiritual roots. But Li Su is still a concubine. The current Li Su has grown to the point of refining the void. If Li Su is really the reincarnation of a fairy, it is naturally unrealistic for the current Tian Tian to have a regular wife. It is also very important to grow up, otherwise, no matter how talented you are, if you don't grow up, you can only recite the name of a genius. Therefore, Peak Lord Daiyan did not speak in the end. Haha. Gui Yuanzong married a daughter, and then married Li Su. It's 10 big things. Brother Luo, it looks like we are going to prepare 2 congratulatory gifts. Brother Lu, when a disciple in your sect marries Li Su, when did I prepare 2 copies? Seeing that Master Daiyan had discussed the details with Li Su, the head of Xuanshan Academy and Tinluo sect leader were also happy there. Immediately afterwards, the news of this wedding, along with the invitations from Gui Yuanzong and the Li family, spread throughout Kanglan. What happened? Li Su actually wanted to marry Gui Yuanzong's first-rank spiritual roots genius. Oh my god, Li Su is too heaven-defying, isn't he taking down the most powerful genius of Gui Yuanzong? I heard that Fairy Tian is only over 500 years old now, and she is already in the late stage of becoming a god. Is such a genius willing to marry Ji Su? As soon as the news spread, the cultivators in the Kanglan realm were shocked. Many cultivators in the Kanglan realm were shocked by this news and called heaven-defying directly. Tian Tian's name has already spread to other realms, and there are still many people who know it. She is also known as the #1 beauty of the new generation in Zhangzhou. He is also a first-rank spiritual roots genius, and has received a lot of attention in recent years. In the previous Northern Territory, her name has not been passed down. That is because the Northern Territory itself is half isolated from other realms. Now, this genius from first-rank spiritual roots is going to enter Li Su's house. How is this not shocking? Li Su's continuous taking of concubines these years has already been known to the cultivators in the Kanglan realm. It also became a topic of discussion among cultivators in the Kanglan world in their spare time. Now, this concubine, Li Su, actually got a first-rank spiritual roots. It also made many cultivators call it amazing. It's simply too powerful. And the cultivator didn't understand why Tian Tian would be willing and Gui Yuanzong would agree. This is the first-rank spiritual roots. Could it be that Li Su joined Gui Yuanzong? Did Gui Yuanzong spend such a large amount of money? Immediately afterwards, they knew why. Because another message spread. This news caused a greater shock than the news that Li Su was going to marry Tian Tian. What? Li Su has become a void alchemist. How could it be so fast? Where did the news come from? It's true. It's all rumored, so it should be true. My God, Li Su isn't even 400 years old. Lian Shu, who is less than 400 years old, is simply heaven-defying. Immortal spiritual roots are not so fast, they are more than 300 years old, and they have reached the stage of refining the void. In a fairy city in Zhangzhou, after the news spread, all the cultivators in the fairy city were stunned. As for the northern border, let alone, the cultivator in the north has already boiled. The spread of this news is not too slow, because the news is too shocking, so some organizations that collect information are also willing to spread it. Of course, the news on the internet is incomparable with Li Su before he traveled. The two worlds are also different in size. Not to mention the Kanglan realm, the northern territory is many times larger than the world before Li Su crossed. The communication between the strong can be very fast, but the timeliness of ordinary cultivators' news cannot be guaranteed. In addition, it is impossible for many cultivators of closed-door training to leave customs because of this news. They closed-door training do not know the situation outside. Even so, the news is still in the water. The world caused a great shock. The shock this time was even greater than the battle at Mangkang Mountain decades ago. At the same time, it lasts longer. Every day, some cultivators would be shocked when they heard the news. The news that Li Su became the elder of Guiyuanzong also spread. Although it was only on a temporary basis, but when it came to the outside world, it was declared as elder. A few months later, these news have been known by an unknown number of cultivators.
Directly lead to. During the period when Li Su married Tian Tian, Aa Gui Yuanzong had many cultivators.
Outside the Li mansion in the north, a large number of cultivators also came. Gui Yuanzong prepared an unusually rich dowry for this wedding, and used hundreds of airships to form a huge airship team, flying to the north. These flying boats were built by Gui Yuanzong, and their speed is not slow, much faster than the flying boats of the northern Immortal Gate. But it is incomparable with the speed of transforming gods and refining emptiness. It will take more than half a month to fly to the north. Following these flying boats, there are still a large number of cultivators, and they are also planning to take a look at Jisoo in the northern border. This time when Li Su came to Lianshu, more cultivators were shocked and looked at Li Su. Therefore, this wedding was unprecedentedly lively. Why are there so many flying boats? What happened? They're all going to the northern border. Didn't you hear that Li Su has broken through and refined the void, and he's going to marry Gui Yuanzong's first-rank spiritual roots genius? Who is Li Su? Has the northern border been opened up now? I have only been closed-door training for more than 100 years, how come so many things happen? In a fairy city, a nascent soul cultivator stared dumbfounded at the flying boat passing by the fairy city, and was dumbfounded by what the cultivator beside him said. He has lived for more than 2,000 years, and the number of closed-door training is also quite a lot. This time, closed-door training has been more than 100 years old. How come this world has become unknown to him? All of a sudden, Li Su popped up, and he reached the point of refining Shu so quickly, it's only been more than 100 years. So much so, this nascent soul was completely confused. North. After flying for more than half a month, a mighty fleet of flying boats arrived. In addition to the more than 100 flying boats that Gui Yuanzong sent to marry, thousands of flying boats of various types followed behind. This is a cultivator all the way from Zhangzhou. In fact, this is not all, there are more behind, but their airship did not keep up with the main force and fell behind. Based on the principle that a visitor is a guest, the Li family naturally dispatched manpower to entertain these training classes. These cultivators were all knowledgeable, and they all sent congratulatory gifts more or less. This time Li Su and Tian Tian's wedding was unprecedentedly lively. Even the people of the Sea clan in Shihai sent congratulatory gifts. It's too grand, I didn't expect Li Sr. to arrive at Lianshu so soon. That's right. When I first met him, he was at the early stage of nascent soul. Hundreds of years later, I was still at the middle stage of nascent soul, but he has already reached the stage of refining. It is a blessing for us to have Li Sr. here in the northern region. In the past, we had little hope of reaching Washan, but now that we have opened up with other regions, we may have hope. Yes. In Li's mansion, watching such a grand scene, the heads of the 7 immortal sects in the northern region sighed. Their feelings are the deepest. Hundreds of years have given them a sense of vicissitudes, mainly because Li Su has changed too much. These changes have also affected the entire northern border, which is a great thing for the northern border. They are very grateful. The wedding is naturally lively. Peak Lord Dian personally sent Tian Tian over. After the ceremony, Tian Tian was sent into the bridal chamber by the maids. Li Su continued to entertain the guests for most of the day. In this way, after midnight, finally, Li Su was free and entered the bridal chamber. There are red decorations hanging all over the room. Tian Tian's head was covered with a red hijab, and she sat there quietly. This girl with a sweet appearance is also very quiet when she is alone. In terms of appearance, Tian Tian is naturally not low. If the full score is 10 points, at least 9.9 points can be scored. Li Su walked over slowly. Tian Tian might be a little nervous. She grabbed the corner of her clothes with both hands. Finally, Li Su came in front of her, and then slowly lifted her red hijab. It revealed Tian Tian's shy face with bowed head and eyebrows. The red candlelight imprinted on her face, making her look even more delicate and charming. The most beautiful thing about my daughter's house is actually that shyness. The red candle went out. Then ensued a night of rain and wind. The next morning, when Li Su woke up, Tian Tian was sleeping on his arm. Looking closely, Tian Tian's face is indeed delicate and sweet. And very well behaved. It can be said that she is a sweet-type goddess. Perhaps it was Li Su's gaze that startled her. Tian Tian's long eyelashes moved. However, perhaps because she was too shy, this girl didn't open her eyes. This is still pretending to sleep. Therefore, Li Su's hand. On Tian Tian's face, a rosy glow slowly flew up. Li Su smiled, haha, and pulled Tian Tian back. This morning, it became extremely comfortable again. When Li Su got up, it was already 3 poles in the sun outside. Inside Li's mansion, it was still very lively, and in the outer mansion, the guests had dispersed one after another. Some guests are still there, including Peak Master Dian and Gui Yuanzong, who came to send off the bride. The area of the Li Mansion's outer mansion is naturally not small, and the buildings used to entertain guests stretch for hundreds of miles. Of course, there are generally not many guests who are eligible to stay overnight in foreign residences. Li Su got up just because Peak Master Dian and Gui Yuanzong's people were still there. Otherwise, with Tian Tian's beauty, no matter what, she must. Just a few days and nights. Li Su took Tian Tian to see off the guests. Tian Tian's body is still covered with red shoppe, which looks extremely gorgeous. The marriage between her and Li Su is somewhat similar to the marriage in ancient times. Before the marriage, the two parties had no communication. Even now, Tian Tian hasn't said a word to Li Su. But now Tian Tian, standing next to Li Su, looks like a man and a woman, and looks very suitable. In front of outsiders, she is also generous, but she likes to peek at her own husband from time to time. She is a genius of the first-rank spiritual roots. Although she is not as conceited as some geniuses, she is somewhat high-minded. Even if there are some cultivators stronger than her, Tian Tian basically won't take a second look. However, in front of Li Su, after experiencing last night, Tian Tian is like a good girl. The body was given to Li Su, her heart is also given to Li Su. Although she is over 500 years old, she spends most of her time practicing and her mind is very pure. Identified a person, then this person is a lifetime. I wish to win the heart of one person, and the whitehead will not be separated. The idea of this girl is very simple. Of course, if it wasn't for Li Su, maybe tens of thousands of years later, the person who was identified would never appear. At the beginning, she never thought about these things, she was just practicing with all her heart. Until the appearance of Li Su. Only then did she discover that there are better and more worthwhile things in the world. Of course, no matter how beautiful and worthwhile, cultivation is still the key. Otherwise, these beautiful and worthwhile things will one day become the regret and yearning of one party as the longevity is exhausted. The love of mortals is passionate and short-lived, and the longest is no more than a lifetime. The feelings of a cultivator are plain but meaningful. The longer the time, the deeper it will be. Peak Lord, don't worry. I will send Tian Tian back to Yuanzong in a few years, and I won't let her delay her cultivation. In the outer palace, Li's voice sounded. Peak Lord Dian naturally had no objection. For a few years, it has little impact on the cultivator. Moreover, Tian Tian has never stopped practicing in recent years. If it is because of the combination of Tian Tian and Li Su that she has not practiced for a long time, she is not happy to see it. It's just that she believes in Li Su. Li Su, your Su Cheng, I'm going to ask Gui Yuanzong to set up a station, so that it can also form a certain deterrent to other people who are serious, and it will be more convenient for anything in the future. Peak Master Dian discussed this matter. Li Su agreed. Now in the northern border, there are many people lurking secretly. The woman in charge of the family is 100% still lurking in the north. There are too many people in the northern border, and now there are cultivators from Quan Kanglan. Even if Li Su has reached the point of refining Shu, it will not be easy to find the other party. If it is found out, the other party can also send people over to lurk in a steady stream. So Li Su didn't make that effort. One's own strength and means are the key. In addition, Sacred Land asked the people in Tianshui Palace, there must be some lurking in the northern border. There may be other forces. As for the bright side, fairy sects like Xuanshan Academy and Tinluizong have also sent disciples to stay in Suchang. Gai Yuanzong naturally had disciples in the northern region before, in order to understand some trends in the northern region.
This is a very normal thing, including Li Su, who also sent several descendants of the Li family above foundation establishment to some fairy cities in Zhongzhou for activities.
It can give Li Su a more accurate understanding of the situation in the Kanglan realm. Now Peak Master Dian wants to clarify the point of residence and put it directly on the bright side, because Li Su is now also holding the position of elder in Gaiyuanzong. With another station, it will be able to form a certain deterrent to some forces with malicious intentions. Not bad for Li Su. It can save a lot of trouble, and it can develop steadily for some time. Some enemies are definitely unavoidable, so it is unavoidable, just let the other party come. With Gui Yuanzong in the way, at least there won't be too many flies around him. After discussing the matter with Li Su, Dian Peak Master did not leave immediately. She asked Li Su for an immortal cave, where she planned to do closed-door training and try the medicine pill Li Su gave her. Li Su agreed, and arranged for her a good immortal cave. Although the immortal cave is located in the outer palace, the spiritual qi is extraordinarily abundant. Then, Li Su and Tian Tian sent the other guests away one after another. Tian Tian, come to Nanjing to play when you have time. The sect leader of the beast sect also left. After finishing things, it was night again. Tian Tian, at night, Li Su took Tian Tian's little hand. Tian Tian's face turned red again, but he didn't resist, and let Li Su carry her into the room. For several months, Li Su never reappeared. The higher the cultivation base, the more difficult it is to have offspring, but compared to the Sea clan, it is relatively easy. After several months of hard work in Li Su, finally, on this day, Tian Tian got it. Tian Tian didn't expect that she was going to be a mother. This sweet girl quickly accepted it calmly. Especially after seeing Li Su's joyful expression, her heart began to overflow with happiness. Her character is really like marrying her husband and following her husband. Tian Tian, don't practice these days. These spiritual fruits and medicine pills are for nourishing the body, they are enough for this year. Li Su took out a lot of spiritual fruits, medicine pill, and said with concern. This is the medicine pill he specially refined for Tian Tian. It is mild and releases the medicine slowly, which can bring about the effect of warming and nourishing her and the fetus. The medicine pill refined by Li Su is naturally very different from those refined by other pill refiners, and the medicine effect will be better. As for the medicine pills in some novels that Li Su read before traveling, there are too many medicine pills with side effects. That is another kind of medicine pill that is not very good. There are very few pill refiners refining that type of medicine pill now, and the refining method is also very problematic. The real medicine pill is to purify the medicinal properties of the spiritual herbs, and then combine them with a variety of spiritual herbs to bring different effects, and the effect is better than taking the spiritual herbs directly. As long as you can completely absorb and refine it, there will be no side effects at all. This is a panacea, not a Western pill. Like the chi-gathering pill, its function is to increase the rate of absorbing spiritual chi several times within a period of time. This kind of pill can greatly accelerate the speed of cultivation during the chi refining period. Where are the side effects? There are many types of medicine pills, and side effects are not ruled out, but with Li Su's current attainments in pill refining, he naturally knows how to choose and avoid. Tian Tian felt Li Su's concern, and gave a soft hum. She began to take care of her baby. Li Su arranged dozens of servant girls to serve her. Many of these maid servants came from poor families. They lived in the Li mansion in their teens, and when they reached the age of marriage, they would receive a very generous reward. This also makes Li Su's reputation in the world has always been very good. I don't know how many young girls want to work as maids in Li's house, so people don't have to worry about it. Peak Lord. After Tian Tian became pregnant, Li Su naturally stopped farming. Only then did he see Peak Master Dian, who had been waiting for him for nearly a month. Peak Master Dian saw Li Su, and a look of joy appeared on his face. Although she waited for a month, she was not unhappy at all. Of course, she is also very innocent. In the past few months, Li Su has been with Tian Tian. Never appeared in the outer palace. Now, she also learned that Tian Tian had a baby. For this point, Luo Yunfeng Lord has long been psychologically prepared. After all, from what she learned before, after Li Su's concubine entered the house, in the first few years, she was either giving birth or on the way to give birth. Tian Tian's birth of a few babies will not have any influence on her, so it is naturally impossible for Peak Lord Dian to have any opinions. And the reason why she was happy, even a little excited, was very simple. The medicine pill given to her by Li Su actually made her bottleneck a little loose after she tried closed-door training in the past few months. This is amazing. Her bottleneck is so difficult that she has been helpless all these years. The more urgent, the more difficult it is. She herself has been learning pill refining for 1,000 or 2,000 years. It's just that, although her spiritual roots is first rank, the talent on pill refining is not very good. Some advanced panaceas, even if you give her all the methods to let her know the pill recipe, including huaho, danju, etc., tell her everything. She can also remember clearly and do exactly as above. But it just couldn't be refined. The rate of forming a pill is very low. Even if the pill is completed, the efficacy of the medicine is average. Advanced medicine pill is more described by the word panacea. Panacea, panacea. The point of brain movement lies in a slow. In the legend, there was an extremely powerful pill refiner who refined the panacea and even gave birth to spiritual wisdom, just like life. The panacea can also be found by yourself to become more powerful, and finally the pill refining master who has a good cultivation base has become a fairy after eating the panacea. This is a rumor, whether it is true or not, the Lord Dian doesn't know. In short, she went to pill refining, which was very difficult. But Li Su's medicine pill makes her fight and move easily. This made Peak Master Dian not excited. Thousands of years. She finally saw hope. Don't underestimate the bottleneck. If it is trapped for too long, it will become more and more difficult to break through. It is not a genius without first-rank spiritual roots who was trapped to death. For Dian, as long as she breaks through this bottleneck, she will be able to prove the integrated union, like a carp turning into a dragon, climbing to the peak of the pyramid in the Kanglin realm. Although the refining stage is strong, but in fact, it is the transition period between Washan and integrated union. Regardless of the eyes of ordinary cultivators, nascent soul is power. But among the fairy alliances composed of countless fairy sects, the integrated union is qualified to call power. The powerhouses of the integrated union can be called bigwigs in the Immortal League. Now, she sees hope. This hope is exactly what Li Su brought her. Peak Master. I do still have this kind of medicine pill, but judging from your description, even if there are more of this kind of medicine pill, it should not be able to break your bottleneck, and the medicinal herbs in my hand are the most. At most, only 2 more can be refined. Li Su said after listening to Peak Master Dian say this. Peak Lord Dian nodded. Well, so I want you to refine medicine pill and medicinal herbs for my bottleneck. I will definitely provide it, and I will also pay enough rewards. She also understands this truth. Li Su's medicine pill is indeed useful for breakthrough bottleneck, but it is not symptomatic. Although it made her bottleneck loosen a little, but only a little after all. That kind of medicine pill itself is more picky about medicinal herbs, and the quantity cannot be too much. Therefore, it must be symptomatic. Li Su pondered for a while, and said, "Okay, but I need to know about your bottleneck." Peak Master Dian naturally knew this and was ready. "Okay, I will show you my cultivation technique. Anyway, you are now the elder of Gui Yuanzong, and you have the authority." After speaking, she took out a jade slip. Li Su Mo read it silently. In this jade slip, what is recorded is the cultivation technique practiced by Dian Peak Master. The cultivation technique she practiced is a cultivation technique that can only be touched by Gui Yuanzong core discipline. The name is very simple, called Gai Yuan Xianfa. If this cultivation technique is calculated by grade, it can be regarded as a third-rank cultivation technique. The efficiency of practice is very high. Even Bai Hai is not qualified to touch this cultivation technique. Although Li Su has never cultivated by himself, in the cultivation base rewarded by the system, the experience of cultivation is real. Moreover, there is a lot of experience in these cultivations, which has been going on for tens of thousands of years. Therefore, Li Su spent a few days to thoroughly understand this cultivation technique. Peak Master, your bottleneck has nothing to do with cultivation technique. Then, Li Su spoke. This answer is also expected by Lord Dian. The appearance of the bottleneck cannot be blamed on the cultivation technique. No matter how good the cultivation technique is, the bottleneck may appear. And even if two people with the same spiritual roots cultivate, one may have a bottleneck and the other may not, or the two bottlenecks appear at different times. The rules of the bottleneck cannot be summed up accurately, but they are roughly related to your understanding, experience, xinsheng and many other aspects. Spiritual roots also have an impact. Generally, if the spiritual roots are poor, there will be more bottlenecks. So, Peak Master Dian talked about his own cultivation experience. It mainly talks about her cultivation experience before the age of 2500. Because she is 2500 years old, she has rushed to the peak of refining virtual reality. For the rest of the time, he was tormented by this bottleneck. Her cultivation experience is actually very simple. It is cultivation, cultivation, cultivation. 10.5 of the 2500 years have been spent practicing. Before the peak of refining Shu, she had never encountered a bottleneck, so she was also immersed in cultivation. I only go out occasionally to practice and sharpen my mind. The time of non-cultivation is less than 100 years. Of course, what she mainly talked about was the situation after the cultivation to the void, so that Li Su could analyze the reason for her bottleneck. In this way, after she talked for several days, Li Su understood a little bit. Just, not enough. Talking about it in this way for several years is not enough, and bottleneck is different from other things. Moreover, Peak Lord Dian's current strength far surpasses Li Su's. Li Su himself has not yet reached the peak of refining virtual reality, so he can't have a personal experience. Otherwise, it might not work. Isn't that enough, Li Su? What better to do? Lord Dian Peak. Li Su thought for a while, and said, the best way is that our primordial spirits overlap. You completely let go of the restrictions, and let my primordial spirit experience your bottleneck firsthand. But this kind of method requires you to trust me completely. What? Li Su's words made Master Dian subconsciously say, ah. The overlapping of souls means that she has to let go of all defenses and let Li Su's soul blend with hers. This way, she should have a clearer sense of her bottleneck. Answer. But so, isn't it, in a way, equivalent to another form of that one? Although, there is still a big difference. Li Su just wants to feel her bottleneck, and will not do anything else. But from the perspective of a nun, it is still very shy and difficult to accept. In addition, there are risks. What if Ji Su has bad intentions? That's why Li Su said that Peak Lord Dian needs to fully trust him. If the peak owner thinks this method is inappropriate, I can also refine 1 or 2 medicine pills to try, but I only have 3 kinds of medicinal herbs. Li Su spoke again. It is also necessary to understand the cultivation technique and cultivation experience of Master Dian. Because the medicine pill also needs to be refined according to her condition, but the most important thing is not this part. But for the part of the bottleneck, if there are enough medicinal herbs, Li Su can also use the quantity to let Master Dian go to breakthrough. But this kind of medicinal herbs is relatively rare in itself, and it involves a bottleneck of peak refining. Even in Gaiyuanzong, there may not be too many of them. Peak Lord Dian's expression quickly returned to normal. Normally, she would hardly be so startled. He has reached the peak of refining, and it's not like he hasn't seen a stronger immortal cultivator, and his heart is also extremely firm. How could he still be surprised like a little girl? That is, I met Li Su. Peak Master Dian was shocked several times in succession. This time, it was also Li Su's plan that exceeded her expectations and required the integration of soul and soul. She gave a rare, she didn't answer right away. Li Su was not in a hurry, looked away from her face, and waited patiently. Although Master Dai Yunfeng's expression is still normal, it can be seen from the small movements of her hands subconsciously put together, her right hand pinching her left hand. She's probably still struggling with which way to choose. Let Li Su refine the medicine pill directly. If the medicine is not effective enough and the medicinal herbs are used up again, it will be a waste. I can choose the second method mentioned by Li Su, but I still can't make up my mind. This does require complete trust in Li Su. It is equivalent to letting go of her soul, but Li Su doesn't need it. If Li Su has the heart, he can peep into all her secrets. This is relatively light. If Li Su has malicious intentions, even if her strength is much higher than Li Su, after she completely let go of her own soul and does not put any defenses, Li Su can still severely injure her. Even if she could respond immediately, she would still be severely injured. But Master Dai Yunfeng subconsciously didn't worry about this. What made her unable to make a decision was, in this way, it is somewhat similar to the friendship between some Dao companions. Although the difference is there is a difference. But the way is the same. The current situation is somewhat similar to that when a woman goes to the gynecology department, she turns out to be a male doctor. No, it goes further than that. Of course, there are still differences, after all, it does not involve the body. But it also made it difficult for Peak Lord Dian to make a decision so easily. In this way, after half a day, finally, Peak Lord Dian's gaze became firm. She looked at Li Su and said, just choose the second one. She chose the second one, that is, Li Su's soul overlaps and blends with her soul, to feel her bottleneck. Lord Dian Peak has been stuck in the bottleneck for too long, she doesn't want to bet on the first one. Of course, the key is her subconscious trust in Li Su. At the same time, being able to accept this approach is inseparable from writing about Li Su's excellent image and temperament and her appreciation of Li Su. These are all potential factors, and she naturally didn't realize it. It is good. Li Su is also very crisp. Let's go inside the immortal cave. Okay. Lord Dian suppressed the tension in his heart, and Bai Jisoo entered the immortal cave. After Li Su activated Immortal Cave's restrictions, he said, it's time to start, Peak Master. It is good. Peak Master Dian closed his eyes and slowly let the primordial spirit expanding aperture. Her primordial spirit, surrounded by golden light, is quite solid. The golden primordial spirit itself is also very good, but it's not like the head of the sect, Shangguan Shuizhu, who built an immortal foundation. Ordinary first-rank spiritual roots are not as good as immortal spiritual roots after all. Then, Peak Master Dian disarmed On's various defensive methods little by little, and let go of On's primordial spirit. Okay, Li Su. There was a divine message from her primordial spirit. Li Su then also released his soul. His primordial spirit, the radiance surrounding it, is surprisingly purple gold, more brilliant and beautiful than the golden radiance. Purple gold primordial spirit is still so powerful. He has already built an immortal foundation. This immortal foundation is more stable than Dongfang. As soon as Li Su's primordial spirit came out, Peak Lord Dian sensed the strength of Li Su's primordial spirit. In her heart, surprise appeared again. Because, Li Su's primordial spirit is really too strong. Purple gold primordial spirit. This purple gold color is still so rich, even as soon as the primordial spirit came out, Peak Master Dian seemed to feel a trace of fairy charm. Li Su, impressively, also built a fairy tomb. Moreover, this immortal foundation gave Peak Master Dian a much stronger feeling than the head of the sect, Shangguan Shui. Although she hasn't seen the soul in charge of the sect with her own eyes, she feels that she can't be wrong. In addition, Li Su's primordial spirit is a little too strong. The primordial spirit of the first level of refining is actually comparable to other people's refining middle stage. Even when she was at the first level of refining the void, her primordial spirit was far from being so powerful. This surprised Peak Master Dian. Now, she knew more clearly, Li Su's evildoer. No wonder, Li Su can fight against Lianshu at the peak of Washan, 1 against 2. When breaking through the void, the movement is so loud. Tianxin. How is it possible? Immediately afterwards, Peak Master Dian discovered another thing that made her feel even more incredible. That is, in Li Su's primordial spirit, there is actually a heart. Moreover, the heart is not weak that day. This discovery made Yuan Shendu, who had let go of all defenses at first, couldn't help trembling slightly. Tianxin. Sky. Li Su has just broken through refining the void. Does he actually have a heart of heaven? Even if she is a genius of first-rank spiritual roots, she gradually forged Tianxin when she refined the third level. Moreover, Tianxin was still very weak at the beginning, but it was strengthened little by little. Up to now, her Tianxin is naturally much stronger than Li Su's. But Li Su's current Tianxin is much stronger than her original one. This is amazing. Immortal spiritual roots can't do it at all. This moment, Peak Lord Dian was shocked again. Yuan Shendu felt a little stagnant. Could it be that he is really a fairy reincarnated? In Peak Master Dian's mind, this thought could not help but appear. Although this guess has a flaw. That is, if there is a reincarnation of an immortal, it is impossible for the high-level officials of the Immortal League to be unaware, but it is normal for an accident to happen when an immortal is involved. Isn't Li Su's fairy spiritual roots not detected by many holy artifacts of the sacred land? Well, Peak Master Dian has now confirmed that Li Su is the spiritual roots of immortals. Everything is possible when it comes to immortals. Peak Master. What's wrong? At this time, Li Su's primordial spirit transmitted divine thoughts. Peak Lord Dian was fine before, but after Li Su's primordial spirit expanding aperture, the primordial spirit kept fluctuating there. Ah. It's okay, Li Su, just wait a moment. Dai Yunfang led the way. She wants to suppress her surprise and stabilize her emotions. Otherwise, under the fluctuation of her soul, Li Su would not be able to blend with her soul smoothly. Although received so many surprises, Peak Lord Dian quickly stabilized On's mood. Okay, Li Su. Dai Yunfang led the way. Okay, here I come. Peak Master Dian suppressed his tension. Li Su's soul began to approach, and then, with her soul, began to steam together. This is not a simple overlap, but Li Su's soul, blending with her soul. This requires Peak Master Dian to let go completely, without the slightest resistance, otherwise there will be no success. Even Peak Master Dian was extremely nervous at this moment. But she tried her best to control her nervousness. Didn't let the own soul fluctuate in the slightest, otherwise it may fail. Under the deliberate control of Peak Master Dian, finally, Li Su's soul completely overlapped with hers. At this moment, as long as Li Su has a thought, he can easily see all the secrets of King Daiyangfang. However, Li Su did not. This also relieved Peak Master Dian's tension a bit. But there was also a strange feeling in the heart of Peak Lord Dian. The current her and Li Su's primordial spirit overlapped seamlessly. No, not simply overlapping. This is the blending of souls. How can this not make her feel strange? The other side. Li Su is very serious, he began to feel it. Even through this method, it is not so easy to feel the bottleneck of Peak Lord Dian, and Li Su needs to feel it carefully. Peak Master, try to break through. Okay, I'm going to use some real energy, be careful. No problem. According to Li Su's request, Dian Peak Master tried to push upwards, so that Li Su could feel the bottleneck more clearly. The bottleneck of peak Lord Dian, if it feels like it, is like a transparent membrane that cannot be seen or touched. It's just a feeling, different bottlenecks, the difference is not very big. Time passed bit by bit. Soon, the day passed. Then, 2 days, 3 days. Peak Master Dian was very patient, but he felt more and more strange. If it wasn't for the expanding aperture of her primordial spirit, she would probably be blushing now. Soon, 3 months passed. During this time, Peak Master Dian and Li Sus Yuan Shendu returned to their bodies a few times, and after consolidating for a while, they repeated the process again. After these 3 months passed, the way Master Dian looked at Li Su was very different from before. That strange feeling brought some changes to her. Another 3 months passed. Finally, Li Sus' primordial spirit receded like a tide. Returned the own body. Peak Lord Dian breathed a sigh of relief, and the primordial spirit returned to his body. After Yuanshan returned, if you look carefully, Peak Lord Dian's face was a little red, but she was quickly suppressed by her. It should be fine. Let's go, Peak Master, let's go find medicinal herbs. It is good. So, the two came to Gaiyuanzong all the way. After several days of searching in the Elixir Peak, Li Su found enough medicinal herbs. Then, after another half a year, Ji successfully refined a medicine pill. Peak Master, give it a try. Li Su handed the medicine pill to Peak Master Dian. Peak Lord Dian took the medicine pill, and after taking a sip, he felt something unusual. Intuition told her. This medicine pill has a great possibility for her to break through the bottleneck. She couldn't help being a little excited. You have worked hard this year, Li Su. She didn't rush to closed-door training, but looked at Li Su gratefully. During this year, Li Su has been working for her. Busy. This made Peak Master Dian extremely grateful. At the same time, Li Su seemed to be quite different in her eyes. This medicine pill is priceless to me, Li Su. What do you want? Even if you get it at the Elixir Peak, I will come for the spirit stones you need. Then, Dai Yunfang took the lead. Li Su said, Peak Master, there is no rush on this matter, you can talk about it after you break through the bottleneck first. Li Su didn't plan to take anything either. After Peak Master Dian has this medicine pill, as long as he breaks through the bottleneck, it is very likely that he will break through to the integrated union stage in a short time. It is a waste of such a big favor to exchange some things that Li Su can exchange with other things. By the way, Peak Lord, I have some descendants with good spiritual roots in my family. I plan to send them to Gaiyuanzong. The 5th rank spiritual roots will be placed in the subordinate sect according to Gaiyuanzong's rules. I don't know. Is it possible? Li Su mentioned one more thing. He was going to send some descendants to Gaiyuanzong. Fei Shenzong is also equivalent to Li Sus now, but the problem with Fei Shenzong is that after all, the background is not enough, and Li Su doesn't have time to cultivate one by one. Therefore, Li Su is going to send some of his descendants to Gaiyuanzong. Like Meng Meng and the others, they are naturally still at Shuiyumen. This time, Li Su sent other descendants. He is also not going to ask Peak Master Dian to make a special case for him. Just follow Gui Yuanzong's rules. These descendants, let them break through by themselves. Of course, Li Su will definitely give some of them better understanding and more diligent descendants some extra and better resources to ensure their growth. In addition, there is another point that with the strengthening of Li Su's bloodline, the bloodline of the offspring born after Li Su is also constantly strengthening. The bloodline is the strongest in the first generation, and then it declines from generation to generation, and each generation is not as good as the first generation. Occasionally, however, atavisms do occur. For example, Li Su's 10-generation descendants, original bloodline is definitely not as good as the previous generations, but after returning to their ancestors, they may be comparable to Li Su's children. The strengthening of blood is also good for Li Su's offspring. One is that the offspring are born with stronger physique. Lifespan is also longer. Although body cultivators have many limitations, except for those extreme ones, the lifespan of most body cultivators is longer than that of immortal cultivators in the same realm. This is for sure. What people cultivate is the body. Therefore, Li Su's offspring, after their bloodlines are further strengthened, can actually take the path of a body cultivator. If the spiritual roots of some descendants are poor, Li Su also set up a special body cultivator hall in Feishenzong, and sent them to practice body cultivator there. There is no body cultivator in Kanglan realm, and there is no special body cultivator fairy gate. But Li Su himself has experience. He has created a set of cheats, which is suitable for his descendants. Right now, Li Su's bloodline is actually not particularly strong, but after it gets stronger in the future, his descendants will have more choices. Of course, if the bloodline is too strong, it will also face a problem. That is Li Su's own offspring. It will become more difficult. The world is safe and secure. This is not a problem. Hard work and numbers can make up for it. Anyway, he is not like others. He needs to practice by himself. Of course, your descendants, 5th rank spiritual roots, can be sent to the main sect for training, but there is also a probationary period, and I will let someone take care of them. Peak Lord Dian said very straightforwardly. This matter is settled here. Master Dian went to closed-door training, and was going to use Li Su's medicine pill to break through the bottleneck in one fell swoop. And Li Su also returned to the Li mansion. Tian's stomach is getting bigger, but there is no sign of rawness yet. This baby has been pregnant for a month, and visions have begun to appear. For example, where Tian often stays, even the grass will slowly turn into spiritual herbs. Another example is that occasionally there will be a glow on her head. Husband, the child's spiritual roots must be very good. Tian leaned her head on Li Su's chest and murmured. Li Su caressed her hair, feeling a little anticipation. Perhaps because of the high expectations for this baby, Ji spent more time with Tian in the following time. 6 months later, the child was finally born. Master, it's a daughter, the midwife said happily. Li Su saw that it was indeed her daughter. Daughter came to Tian's side. Tian looked at this daughter who looked very similar to her, and showed a happy smile. Husband, test your daughter's spiritual roots. Li Su took the magic treasures of spiritual roots and started testing. Soon, the daughter's spiritual roots were detected. This daughter's spiritual roots are the 1st rank spiritual roots. Li Su finally has a descendant of 1st rank spiritual roots. This luck is also overwhelming. Although they were born with Bai Ling and the others, they are the top bloodlines equivalent to 1st rank spiritual roots, but the bloodlines are different from spiritual roots after all. For future generations, spiritual roots is definitely more important. Great, look. Tian didn't expect that she would give birth to a 1st rank spiritual roots, with a smile on her face. Husband, give her a name. Tian looked at her own daughter and said. Let's call it Li Tian. Li Su chose a name for his daughter. Li Tian. Li Su likes to use this method to name excellent offspring. When Li Tian was born, writing about ordinary children was very different. As soon as she was born, she was very beautiful. Crying, of course, will still cry, but the face is not as wrinkled as other babies. After Li Su fed her the special spiritual fluid prepared by Li Su, she stared at Li Su with her bright and lovely eyes for a long time before falling asleep contentedly. This spiritual fluid is made by Li Su with a kind of spirit beast's milk, after dilution, and then mixed with a small amount of blended elixir. It is very beneficial to babies, and it is also very gentle. This kind of spirit beast is called milk dragon beast, and the nutritional value of its milk is very high. However, this kind of spirit beast is very rare, and Ji got one from the spirit beast sect. If the baby does not have spiritual roots, this kind of spiritual fluid cannot be used, and the body will not be able to bear it. Li Su has no descendants of spiritual roots, so he will not worry about nutrition at the beginning, but it is impossible to compare with the descendants of spiritual roots. The birth of this daughter is naturally a great joy. The rewards she brought to Li Su are also very good. The cultivation base and experience she added to Li Su alone has more than 1,000 years. Then came the denial of spiritual roots. Soon, Li Su showed joy. His spiritual roots will soon reach 3rd rank. The gap between 4th rank spiritual roots and 3rd rank spiritual roots is very large. This is also normal. The 3rd rank spiritual roots is heavenly spiritual roots. One is the earth and the other is the sky. After so many years, the number of Li Su's descendants is more than 1,000. But there is still a long way to go from his spiritual roots to third rank. This is because as the level of Lee Su's spiritual roots is getting higher and higher, like the offspring of the 9th grade spiritual roots, the enhancement brought to Lee Su's spiritual roots is also getting lower and lower. But the accumulation of quantity is still useful. Over the years, spiritual roots have been continuously born, and they have also crossed a lot of distance. This unprecedented first-rank spiritual roots daughter brought enhancements equivalent to the enhancements of hundreds of spiritual roots descendants below 5th rank. So, come some spiritual roots descendants, it won't take long for him to become 3rd rank spiritual roots. 3rd rank spiritual roots, even the heavenly spiritual roots. Although the 3rd rank day spiritual roots is the worst day spiritual roots, it is also very good. After all, none of the previous Lee Su spiritual roots were included. For the current Lee Su, if he comes to spiritual roots for a day, he will not have to move forward slowly in the refining stage. It is still too difficult for 4th rank spiritual roots to bring Zijin primordial spirit, not to mention that there is still Zijin Tianxin, the demand for cultivation base must be bigger. If it is still the 4th rank spiritual roots, it will be more difficult to drive. It's like a Rolls-Royce with a top configuration, which should have been equipped with a 6.7T engine. But here at Lee Su is equipped with a 1.0T engine with just over 100 horsepower, which is used on the Mini. This is naturally difficult. Therefore, in the transformation stage, only so many cultivation bases are needed for each level up. In addition, the bottleneck has to be considered. The 4th rank spiritual roots are in the refining stage, and the bottleneck is more likely to appear. Lee Su doesn't want the sun and the moon to come to a bottleneck while taking one step at a time. Although he himself is also researching the bottleneck, but there are too many, it's not interesting. Seeing that she has a 1st rank spiritual roots daughter, spiritual roots is about to break through 3rd rank. Lee Su's mood also became exceptionally good. This girl was taught by him and Tian Tian. Tian Tian herself is the 1st rank spiritual roots, and knows how the 1st rank spiritual roots is the best and fastest way to cultivate. Before becoming a god, as long as the foundation is laid, the resources are guaranteed, and the cultivation technique is completely fine. Others, such as magic treasures, medicine pill, etc., Lee Su, the father, will naturally solve them. Time passed day by day, and GTN grew up day by day. Tian Tian was very happy with Li Tian's company. A month later, Lee Su took Tian Tian to start farming again. However, after another few months, Tian Tian's stomach still didn't move. The cultivation base is higher, and it is indeed more difficult to have offspring. Lee Su didn't give up either. He came to work every now and then. He wanted to see if Tian Tian could have another one for him. What about the spiritual roots of the offspring if one is reproduced?
This time she gave birth to a girl named Li Tian, and her luck was indeed very, very good.
Her growth will also be abnormally fast. Lee Su also began to make some preparations for Tian Tian's future training. Although the resources in Gaiyuanzong are very good, Lee Su also needs to prepare some medicine pills for Tian Tian that cannot be refined by Gaiyuanzong's pill refiner. Further accelerate Tian Tian's growth. At the same time to time, 1 or 2 more concubines will still be accepted. The offspring of spiritual roots are still being born continuously.
Dad. In Li's mansion, GTN hurriedly ran towards Li.
In a blink of an eye, she could talk and walk. Much faster than other children, she is only a little over 1 year old now. Lee Su hugged Li Tian, who looked like a little princess. Baji, then, he was slapped by his daughter, and his face was covered with her saliva. Giggle, the girl was still there and laughed happily. Looking at this scene in the distance, Tian Tian also showed a happy smile. Li Tian could speak, but Tian Tian's stomach still didn't move. However, after a few more months, Tian Tian finally had Li Su's second child. After more than a year, Li Tian grew into a crisp little loli, and Tian Tian also gave birth to Li Su's second baby. 4th rank spiritual roots. The spiritual roots of this baby are not so heaven-defying, only the 4th rank spiritual roots. The 4th rank spiritual roots is also pretty good. But it is naturally incomparable with 1st rank spiritual roots. Looking at it this way, It took a long time to be lucky to give birth to Li Tian this time. The probability in the system just happened to be critically hit here. Of course, it also has a lot to do with Tian Tian's spiritual excellence. Li Su's mentality is also calm. First-rank spiritual roots are rare in the first place. With so many people in the Kanglan realm, only one will appear every few years. Now that one comes, Li Su is pretty full. Now, more than 5 years have passed since Li Su's breakthrough. Yu Yue hasn't moved yet, so I don't know how her impact on Lianshu is going. It's been more than 20 years. It has been more than 3 years since Master Daiyan obtained the medicine pill, and there is still no movement.
However, soon, she came. Lord Dian Peak looks very good mental state, giving people a feeling of radiant, and refreshed on happy occasions.
Peak Master, congratulations. Li Su knew what happened when she saw her state. Master Daiyan Peak 100% broke through the bottle. That's why she was so happy. Perhaps because he broke through the bottleneck, his mood was extremely good, and Dai Yunfang also showed a little girlish heart. The corner of her mouth was slightly raised. How do you know that I broke through the bottleneck? Li Su said. The Peak Master's eyes have already told me. Master Daiyan Peak looked at Li Su. Li Su, this is all thanks to you. I haven't thanked you enough yet. By the way, I heard that you and Tian have a child? Peak Master. At this time, Tian has come. Beside her, there were 2 little guys. Peak Master Daiyan took a look. They are all so big. She doesn't know Li Tian's spiritual roots yet. Got presents for both little ones. Next, Gai Yuanzong will be the master of Lei Yun Peak. I am preparing for closed-door training to hit the integrated union period. You can prepare an immortal cave for me. I will be in Mangkang Mountain for closed-door training. In this way, in case there is anything in any case, before I officially make an impact, I can also make a move. Peak Lord Daiyan said again. Sure enough, after breaking through the bottleneck, she was ready to attack the integrated union with closed-door training. However, she actually wanted to do closed-door training in Mangkang Mountain. And it seems that he has made all the preparations, and he probably brought all the necessary belongings. The spiritual qi in Mangkang Mountain is already very strong, although it is not as good as Zhongzhou, but in Li Su's immortal cave, it is not too bad. And she can smash spirit stones to enhance immortal cave's spiritual qi. For her, as long as she brings enough cultivation resources this time, she will be able to go anywhere. Just like the master. Li Su agreed, and arranged an immortal cave with rich spiritual qi for Master Daiyan. By the way, Tian, how is your child's spiritual roots? Have you reached heaven's spiritual roots? When Li Su and Tian took Master Daiyan to Immortal Cave, Master Daiyan asked casually. Peak Lord, it's the first-rank spiritual roots. Tian said. First-rank spiritual roots? Peak Master Daiyan couldn't help looking at Li Tian, a little surprised. Tian is first-rank spiritual roots. It doesn't mean she can give birth to first-rank spiritual roots offspring. There is still a certain probability of spiritual roots, but it is also possible that some spiritual roots are ordinary. First-rank spiritual roots, then really needs a lot of luck. This is normal in this world. Unexpectedly, Tian gave birth to a first-rank spiritual roots baby. Yes, Peak Lord. Tian said. It was a real surprise. Peak Master Daiyan couldn't help being a little happy for Tian and Li Su. Since it's the first-rank spiritual roots, the previous gift is a bit light, so let's give her this piece of psychic gem. It can nourish the soul, and it can also block disasters at critical times. It can't hurt her even below the level of refinement. Peak Master Daiyan took out a piece of crystal-clear jade and put it on Tian's neck. Thank you, Aunt, Li Tian said crisply. She looks very similar to Tian, and she is also extraordinarily cute. However, she has a habit that she likes to cling to Li Su. Every time Li Su comes over, she likes to hang on to Li Su. No, when she was talking, she was still pulling Li Su's trouser legs. Master Daiyan touched Li Tian's little head, and then went to closed-door training. Your immortal cave restrictions are self-contained, but I added a small restriction. If there is any emergency, notify me through this restriction. Dai Yunfang led the way. Good, Li Su said. Peak Lord Dian stepped into the Immortal Cave, activated restrictions, and sealed the Immortal Cave. This Immortal Cave will not be disturbed at all. At this time, unless someone destroys the restrictions and alarms her, she will know nothing about the situation outside. Closed door training is to cut off all distracting thoughts, isolate all external influences, and concentrate on practicing. It will not be short time for her to attack the integrated union this time. I don't know how long it will take. It may be 100 years, it may be hundreds of years, it may be thousands of years, or thousands of libraries. At this time, it is impossible to say. The cultivation of first-rank spiritual roots is indeed fast, but the distance from refining the void to the integrated union is not short. It depends on how far Master Dian rushed before he was stuck in the bottleneck. It also depends on her for thousands of years, although cultivation base can't make progress, but have you tempered other aspects of own, such as mentality? These are also very influential. Not many people knew the news about Dian's closed-door training in Mangkang Mountain, so Li Su naturally didn't spread it. After the past few years, Li Su's name has completely resounded throughout the Kanglan world. Except for some cultivators whose closed-door training took hundreds of years, other cultivators basically know Li Su's name. After another year, Tian's stomach stopped moving. Li Su reckoned that it would be too difficult for her to have another one, so she let Tian concentrate on her cultivation. After Peak Master Dian arrived at Mangkang Mountain, Tian was not in a hurry to return to Yuanzhong, and lived a small life in Mangkang Mountain, taking care of her husband and teaching her children. She can also practice here. On the day Li Tian turned 6, Li Su's spiritual roots finally got a breakthrough. From 4th rank spiritual roots, came to 3rd rank spiritual roots in one fell swoop. 3rd rank day spiritual roots, Li Su's spirit lifted. Finally, his spiritual roots, no more trash. The 3rd rank spiritual roots, even the worst heavenly spiritual roots, is far superior to many immortal cultivators. In Kanglan realm, with 3rd rank spiritual roots, even in Gaiyuan sect, one can be called a genius. Even if you enter Yuanzhong normally, the 3rd rank spiritual roots can directly become the inner disciple. As for the core discipline, there is also great hope, as long as you pass the assessment after 100 years of practice. Although spiritual roots are the key to cultivation, in the 1st rank fairy gate, there are many aspects to consider, such as character, tenacity, attitude, and savvy. Don't underestimate these, it will still have a great influence on the immortal cultivators later on. Especially savvy and heart. Of course, it will still be a bit difficult for 3rd rank spiritual roots to take Li Su's Zijin Yuanshan who currently has Tianxin. But this pony, at least a little stronger, is not like before, it is still an underage pony. In this way, the cultivation base will be more powerful. As for other experiences, it has little to do with spiritual roots. Li Su has been mainly adding pill refining and refining tools recently. The body cultivator has not been added for the time being, waiting for the blood vessels to be further strengthened. Formation has not been added for the time being, and there is already a formation cultivation base of more than 8,000 years. Li Su is going to continue to add formation after the late stage of virtual refining, so that after he has been in the integrated union for a while, he can start to actually get the fairy artifact fragments. Before that, Li Su must refine 1 or 2 Dao items, especially defensive ones. Even in the integrated union period, it is still very dangerous to directly touch the celestial artifact fragments. Only with Dao item in hand can it be safer. After Li Su's spiritual roots was promoted to 3rd rank spiritual roots, only 4 years later, Li Su's cultivation base reached the 2nd level of refining. Now, it has only been 10 years since his breakthrough. The 3rd rank spiritual roots is indeed even more powerful. If it is the 4th rank spiritual roots, with the same reward, I am afraid that it will take at least another 20 or 30 years to reach the 2nd level of refining virtual. It will take longer to get to the 3rd level of refining virtual. This is still without a bottleneck. After Li Su arrived at the 2nd floor of Lianshu, another piece of good news came. After Yu has been in closed-door training for nearly 30 years, she is finally able to break through to refine the void. Squeezing Heavenly Devil's wool, coupled with Li Su, Yu's cultivation, is equivalent to cheating. It's just that she can't break through in the north. Now there are too many cultivators in the other borders of the northern border, and the breakthrough in the northern border is likely to be detected as abnormal. This is different from her breakthrough transformation before. Jisoo knew this a long time ago. He has already made preparations. Tien, the family is entrusted to you. In case of an enemy attack, notify the peak owner. Li Su said sweetly to Tien. Tien is currently the human woman with the highest cultivation base among Li Su's concubines. She is the middle stage of Washan, and Bai Ling's strength is still higher than hers, but Bai Ling is usually in Beihai. Yue is already at the point where she can break through and refine the void at any time. Therefore, this time Li Su took Yue away not for a long time, only a few months at most. Peak Lord Dian came at the right time, and with her here, if the woman in charge of the family sent another person during this period, there was no need to worry about festivals. Okay, Sir Tien said. After making arrangements, Li Su came to the immortal cave of Yue closed-door training. Yue didn't open her eyes. After she sent a message, she blocked the surrounding area to avoid being disturbed. She is currently in an undisturbed state. Li Su played restrictions, took out a special magic treasures, put Yue and the surrounding restrictions inside, and then took her all the way out of Li Mansion, flying towards the southeast. He wanted to find a safe place for Yu to break through and refine her void.